Yes, please.
Right on. Good way to start it off.
Badass intro, bro. Badass intro.
I didn't spend too much time on it, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
That's badass. Digging it. See, I wanted to do something like that, but I'm like, I don't usually throw the rock griffs at people because a lot of people don't dig on the riffs, right? But I'm a metalhead, bro. I'm on a Marth fan. I'm a Metallica fan. I grew up on speed metal, yo. Right, and I was digging that. I was like,
time, right? It's got that like mid-tempo, like that's what I meant, like motion, right?
Right, motion.
Well, it's good. Yeah, it does too, because it has that. It's like it's like that whole rocking of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? It fits, dude, with the motif of the Skull Island. You guys out there that heard that fits, bro. That rocks big time. It's not too overwhelming. It's chill, and it says, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's ba da da da, doom doom ka 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 ba da 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 da, boom ka ka. I love that, right? That's why I do that with mine. If you listen to mine for Orion Rising, it has all these offbeats in the drums, right, and then an offbeat with the bass. I love that stuff. I learned that when I was in a band. I was in a rock band. It was called FWG. And that meant fucking white guys.
Nice.
Right? No joke, right? My brother was going to start a band back in the day. He was going to call it DJ Whitey. And he said his first album, his first single was going to be As White as I Want to Be.
Yeah, there you go.
Because that was back in the day when Eminem was on, and then you had Chris Rock starting, right? And Chris Rock was like crossover between rock and rap, and you know what I mean? And then you had Ice-T doing that with his band, doing the crossover.
Body Count, right?
Body Count, right? They were badass, bro. So that was back then, right? When I was in my late teens, early 20s, when they were all doing that. So we were inspired by that. Yeah. And I was starting with my buddy in this band. We were going to go all speed metal and we loved punk, right? So we were going to do like that whole thrash in between punk and speed metal thing for a while. And then it became alternative, and we were like, nah, not sure I like alternative. It was kind of fun.
No. There's some good alternative, though. There's some good alternative. Yeah. I mean,
no, I agree. And then when they started doing like alternative,
when I was really into music, or when you're a teenager, 18 years old, 17,
when you realize
when you're really getting into your music. And I was playing like metal or rock, and then all of a sudden grunge came in, and I was like, what?
Grunge,
like,
grunge was bad. When grunge hit, I was in heaven. And then when death metal hit, and like now, like with Amon Amarth and those bands all over the world, Europe is huge with death metal bands. Big, giant orchestra death metal bands. Love all that music that's coming out of Western and Northern Europe in the last 15, 20 years. Really good stuff, right? I remember I found Amon Amarth. People were going, well, I don't even know how to pronounce that. What is that? Who's that band? It was on their, I think it was their second album when I found them, and now they have like 12 or 15 albums or something. So this was way back. No one in America had even heard from them. In fact, when they first hit America on the airwaves, my ex-wife, who Virginia, you guys met her when she's the one that we worked with. Anyway, she called me and said, who is this rock band where the lead singer sounds like Odin? And I said, you're referring to Amon Amarth, and they sing nothing but Viking metal songs. And she was like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, here, I had all their albums, all their DVDs.
That's awesome.
Not even a joke. Yeah.
I'm a Megadeth and Metallica fan, but I think I prefer Megadeth over Metallica, but I appreciate both of them.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I mean, and when you go back to when Dave Mustaine was in the band for that short time, he influenced Metallica quite a bit. Their first album, he wrote most of the stuff, and he said that later.
And what is
right?
that? First album is always like that's where you kind of set that foundation of what you're going to be doing. So yeah, I mean, he played a big part in that. You know, it's something I overlooked kind of, but a good angle, man. I like the angle you came up with.
See, I'm telling you, bro, I was a big fan of Metallica. I know James Hetfield, right? Yeah. So they lived next door to my current wife when she was a kid.
Oh wow!
In fucking Concord. Yeah, no joke. That was actually they didn't. Their manager did, but they were all from. Well, I mean, they're not originally from there, but they were all living in that area, the East Bay. Jason Newstead, who was with them for a while before he, you know, when he left Flotsam and Jetsam, his mom owns apartment complexes in Walnut Creek and Pleasant Hill. He grew up there. And then he moved to Phoenix and lived with his dad, and that's how they got him back here. Was that he was in Flotsam and Jetsam? Then he came back and played with Metallica for a while until he just couldn't handle.
You're a metalhead, dude. You're definitely.
Oh, bro, I know everything about like every band, dude. Who they played. You know what I'm saying? Right? You know, I was just listening to. I was just last night listening to this guy's a classical composer, but he does like you know, he listens to heavy metal music or whatever, and he critiques it. Well, he understands how much the heavy metal, if you put it on the charts and you look at it with its peaks and valleys, and then you take a classical orchestrated song, they have the same. That's why they incorporate them because they're identical. Yeah, they're identical.
Like Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and Deep Purple too.
Yep,
everything is like orchestral. It's like a symphony.
Yep.
It's like a rock symphony or a metal symphony, and it's you can see, you can hear the similarities. Just
right. So and those guys like Ronnie James Dio when he was in you know, Rainbow, and then he was in you know, with Tony Iommi and those guys after Ozzy left, right? He was there, and you know, and then he went out on his own, and all of those guys incorporated that stuff in this next generation, like the guys over in Europe, like Apocalyptica. They picked that up, and with the grunge sound, with the and then a woman singing, and she's an operatic singer. And then they have the orchestra that they incorporate. A lot of bands did that. Epica is another one, really big. Another one that did that. And I love all of that, how they integrated it. Metallica put a whole album together with an orchestra, right? So that's kind of badass that when they do that. Because
those are same when you're learning.
Yeah.
You know this. It's classical is that metal. I mean, that's where you get a lot of it. It's either metal, or it comes from classical, or like more of a rudimentary, like a blues.
Right. Well, and that's all like the evolution. If it wasn't for blues, we wouldn't have rock. If it wasn't for blues, we wouldn't have rock or hillbilly. You know, we wouldn't have all the grass blue stuff. That was the evolution that brought rock and roll about. And then when the crossover happened between England and America, when all the bands came over from there, that was in the, you know, the 70s started it. Right, that's when you had Zeppelin. That's when you had the Eagles. That's when you had the Beatles. That's when you had Iron Maiden out of England. You had, you know, all these bands in England that were rock and roll, and then the bands in America. And once that marriage met, and all of us kids heard it, it influenced us. And when Johnny Rotten showed up on the scene, bro, right?
That dude for real too.
That was it, man. That was the beginning of faster paced music. The Irish picked it up. They still play it to this day. Only they put their do on it, right? That spin, it's really rocking. So yeah, see, dude, I'm a metalhead, man. I know.
Dropkick Murphys, dude. Those guys are no joke, man.
Dropkick Murphy, I love those guys. I have all their freaking albums. Love Dropkick Murphys. That's my go-to. Yeah, that's my go-to band when I'm just chilling. Dropkick Murphys.
It looks like it, dude.
Yeah, right. I mean, come on, right? I'm like the Irish IRA guy. Look at all those guys. Dude.
Right. Acting like a soccer hooligan, right?
Right. When you know, what's funny was I don't have my sunglasses on right now, but I have a few pairs of shades, and they when I would show up to church, my priest looked at me and said, "Leo, you know, you look like you're IRA." I'm like, "Father, I am IRA." He's like,
"You have something from Peter's in the house." I invited him. I gave him a link, Peter. I sent you a link. I can send it in comments if you want to join us.
Well, Peter, tell Peter
to a panel discussion, and if you know, we don't have to have a call in, but if you're watching live and you want to come in and talk about it for a minute, you don't have to put the camera on. If you want just your voice to be heard, I want this to be kind of
Peter
an open
would come in if he could get his phone to work. Send him an invite. He'd be on in a second if he could get his phone to work.
Yeah,
Peter, see if your phone works, bro. See if we can bring you in.
Right.
But if he has the same problem I do, trying to load it through without Google, it might be an issue. But yeah, Peter's over in Ireland.
Oh,
He'd
yeah.
love to.
He doesn't have Google.
Well, he probably does, but the problem is that he doesn't read. He's dyslexic. So unless his phone tells him, like when I remember I told you when I tried to load it and it said you have to load Google first. Well, he wouldn't be able to load it because he wouldn't be able to read what it says. So hopefully his Siri could tell him what it says, and then he can just load Google and then copy and paste it into the Google browser, and it'll bring him in. If you're listening, Peter, that's what you have to do to bring it in on your phone. If your phone stops you when you try to hit the link.
And Miguel de la Pena could not join us. He's kind of in a remote location, so hopefully enjoying himself.
Right.
And
Well, I heard during the show yesterday, one of the girls said that Mike sends his regards from the beach.
Yes, right.
That's what I heard.
Hopefully he's
enjoying it. So I said, tell him I said hi, and then laughed. And just now I sent him a message just to see, and yeah, he ain't responding. Wherever he's at, he's doing his thing. He said he was having family or whatever anyway, right? So wherever he's at, he's doing his thing and having a good time. I hope he's drinking some Mai Tais or something.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, not enough memory on your phone. I get it, bro. Yeah. Maybe we do need a call in. I don't know how to set that up, dude. I know you do though.
What, the call in? No, I don't know how to set that up on this channel either. On StreamYard, I don't know how to set that. I know that we can't look into it. I had it set up for Spreaker, but we're not on that, right? So I can just go call this number right now. Call in.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We'll have.
I mean, I want this to be kind of a party channel in a way, like just all of us enlightened people that are spending a lot of energy, really helping people kind of lift them up, and I still want to do that here. Yeah. But not have to be on the clock. Talk about those things as well, right? We can have disagreements. We can have debate, and everybody out there, if you want to be a pirate, and I don't mean somebody that's on a ship with a sword.
Not the pirate you can
I mean just a pirate in your spirit, right?
Proverbially, we're not literally going to like go on a pirate ship and cruise around the planet.
Talking about music,
we're doing it here with this right here, but the same kind of concept of this is the free world.
Yes.
Right? Sovereignty is what it means to me. That's what pirate means to me. I don't believe, as we've seen a lot of things, and I'm sure there was plenty of privateers that were just taken over. But as usual, we know where that comes from. It comes from the top of the pyramid, and those are the ones.
Pirates were actually free. People don't realize that pirates were actually free. It's not like everybody thinks, where the movies make it look like Barbossa, being the toughest guy, pulls his sword and going to shoot anybody who resists him, and he's the captain, and that's just the way it is. That's not how it really worked on pirate ships. On pirate ships, everybody voted to who they wanted to lead them, and then they only attacked when they said, "Okay, we need some money, so let's, we're going to go after this ship." And they actually sat down. They weren't stupid. Everybody thinks that pirates were bumbling idiots, and they just sort of did stuff and got into trouble, and that's why they didn't last long. That's not true at all. They sat down like a military dude and said, how are we going to hit this ship? Where are we going to hit this ship? What are we up against? What's their cannons? And how many guns do they have? How many soldiers do they have? What do we have to do when we get on board? And people don't realize that they wore a patch over one eye, and that wasn't because somebody was missing an eye at all, bro. They wore a patch over one eye so they had night vision. This is the absolute truth. Because when you go below deck, even in the daytime, it's dark down there unless they have lights lit. And they would turn all the lights off and sit in the dark and wait for the people to invade. And then they would pick them off as they came down because they didn't have night vision. So the pirates put one patch over one eye. So when they ran over, they're going to go down the stairs or down wherever to get underneath, they would switch and then go in and open up that eye and have perfect vision. And the guys on what's that show where they would try to debunk everything, and they were over in Alameda here in California? I can't think of the name of it now. I'll think of it in a minute.
Is it Fact or Faked?
No, it was those two guys that one had red hair and the other guy had the mustache.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about Mythbusters.
Mythbusters. Yeah. So they heard the myth of the pirates and why they wore the patch over one eye. So they set up an area in a garage, right? Or it was actually in a hangar, but they set it up to where you're going to be these pirates and you're supposed to be invading into the lower decks. And then they had people on the inside waiting for you. And they would go in. First, they went in with no night vision, and they couldn't see shit for 5 minutes while they're adjusting, and they got slaughtered. So then they went out and put the patch over one eye and waited about a half an hour to make sure that patch took. Then they went straight in and pulled the patch over as soon as they got there, and they had total night vision. They could see everybody and still fight. So they said this is true. That's why they wore these. It wasn't because they were all one-eyed. It was because they knew they were going to go into combat and they needed to have night vision, so they covered one eye.
Yeah, you get one perspective all set to that darkness, right? So that when there's any kind of light at all, boom.
Yeah. So what happens is they take the patch off of that and put it on the one that they had day vision, and then the night vision happens faster, and you can see perfectly. And then after only a few seconds, you can pull that up and see with both eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
See, Peter, man, you need to be on here. You probably got a great story about Francis Drake. Peter says the first pirate to ever sail the 7 seas. What came a pirate?
Sir Francis Drake.
Francis Drake.
Yeah, he was actually a knighted by the English throne.
A lot of those guys were in the military. Yeah, like
that's
you
what I'm
said.
saying. Is we got to understand. I mean,
they were like the vets now that are pissed off.
Right.
They're like, they went out to make their own way.
Yeah.
And
they didn't want to live by another's leave, so they went out on their own.
Yeah,
and they were free. They could go wherever they wanted to go.
Yeah. Taken out.
And then what happens is they get hunted by everybody, because if they're going after the French want them. If they sack an English ship, and if they do that to everybody, pretty soon you have Spanish. You have the Spain and France and England all chasing after you, and that's why they would cut deals and become a privateer for, like, say, the French, and then they would raid only English ships, and then the other way around. And eventually they wanted to retire. Most pirates, everyone thinks, died, and that's not true. Most pirates got away. Most pirates got a whole bunch of riches,
making money,
and then retired and went in. And the French were famous for allowing people to hide there if they brought money and stuff. So they would get a hold of somebody in the French government, and they would say, oh, "Look, I'm Blackbeard the pirate. I want to retire. I have a crew, and we have millions of dollars worth of booty. We're willing to give you 10%." They would scuttle their ship, get on board a ship that was going to France, go to France, and then just integrate into the population and retire. And that's what most of them did.
Right.
That's what most of them did.
I mean, I can see that, because you only hear so many stories, right? You only have.
It's really the spirit of the pirate, but I'm glad this is the foundation, as I see it, right, in history. So that's where we're basing it from. And I just love pirates. I mean, who doesn't love a good pirate movie?
If it wasn't for pirates, there wouldn't be any America, because Jean Lafitte, he was the one. It was his ships, his money, and his cannons, and his men who helped free us. They literally were in Florida. They owned Florida.
Helped Andrew Jackson, didn't they?
Yep.
Didn't he help
Andrew motherfucking Jackson. He made a deal with them, but it was a lot. And they literally went through the swamp all the way up to the north, pulling their shit through the swamp to help America. And right after America drove back the English, the first thing they did was turned all the guns on John Lafitte, arrested him, took over all of his ships, took all of his money, all of his gold, his guns, put everybody in jail, and then set him free and gave him 24-hour head start. That's fucked up.
That's
double process.
Do that kind of shit today. That's just the governments and like the bigger.
Well,
it just they've kind of
some of them get away. And Bonnie got away. And Bonnie has great-grandchildren or great-great-grandchildren that are still alive today. She was from Ireland, and she was sold into slavery, and she ended up as a slave here in America, and she married this guy to become not a slave, but she left him, and she ended up finding her way to Warsaw, the island where all the pirates were, and she got hooked up with Jack Rackham and this other woman, and the three of them ruled the ship, the captain and his 2 women, and they were really the captains.
Right.
And Rackham was an idiot, right? And he would get drunk all the time and do stupid shit. That's how they got caught. That's how he died, as a matter of fact.
Right.
The English found him, and he was drunk, and he went up on deck, and he was yelling at the English, "I'm Jack Rackham! You will never get me!" And he's shooting at him with cannons, and they're all yelling at him to get down, and he didn't. So, of course, he ended up shot. Right? And then they ended up getting captured, and Anne Bonny and the other woman said they were pregnant. And back then, you couldn't lock up a woman if they were pregnant. So she said she was pregnant, and they contacted her husband, who lived in New Orleans, and he came and got her, and she never went to jail, and the other woman didn't either. Jack Rackham was getting ready to be hung.
New Orleans has got a very, very crazy history, right?
Yes, it does.
I mean, if you don't already see it, not that I wouldn't love to go to New Orleans. I mean, I'd love the music.
I've never been there, but it's a beautiful place.
But I mean, there's a deep like voodoo vibe there.
Yes.
Which voodoo isn't, it's used like a gun. It's who uses it and how they use it.
How they're using it, right.
Yep.
Right?
Cool.
Yep. And I would love the vibe. I'd love to go there. They're kind of very into like the dead, and that's
we fit right in up in there.
Right? Yeah, they do that whole thing.
Makes me feel so much more alive.
Right.
If that makes any
sense.
True.
No, true. Yeah. Well, and then if you look at what was that movie where the guy was there in New Orleans and he ended up drinking the stuff and he turned into a zombie, and they said it was based on a real event.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I remember
that
from the 90s.
That movie came out like the 80s or 90s. Remember that?
Dude, it's called Believers.
Is that what it was?
Believers.
I think it was.
With Martin Sheen.
Yeah. That was a good movie.
Yeah, that was scary.
If you guys haven't seen it, because that was based. They say it's based on a story.
Face, and then it just got bigger and bigger. Oh, that was tough.
Yeah, I didn't do a lot of the horror and scary movies. I still really don't. I just, I'd rather laugh and be lighthearted because I tend to understand the heavier vibes on a more everyday. So I don't need that extra little assistance. Right. So I've always been drawn in the other direction.
See, it depends on my mood. When I was younger, I was all about horror films and gore. We used to get the magazines. My buddy and myself, we did all kinds of makeup. So when we did Halloween, we went and got all of our own makeup and made costumes and did makeup on people's face. And you could put like you had an eyeball that we could make hang out of your eye, right? And it'd be dangling and we get blood dripping off of it. I mean, we had this chest that would set up. We used to do these elaborate Halloween things. He and I had we rented a house from his parents. And we would set up speakers. One time we put up a scarecrow. We made a scarecrow. We put it on a pike. And we put it up, and it was crucified. And we got 100-pound pumpkin. It was literally this big around, guys.
Holy
this
shit.
Big around, and we actually carved it out and made a jack-o'-lantern out of it and put it up on top of the head for the pumpkin. And we put oil in a plate. In a tin plate down at the bottom and lit it on fire so flames were shooting out of his mouth and eyes. Right? And then we grew the grass so that it was like this tall on the whole front lawn, and we put pikes on the front lawn, and we made skeletons and we put them on the pikes, and they were in different stages of decomposition, from one that looked like it was put on there today and the body just died and it was still oozing, all the way to a skeleton. Right? And then we put dry ice in another pan with water down at the base, so the whole grass had fog on it.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bro. That was like insane. And then when you had to walk up to the walk, this was hilarious. You walked up to the driveway, and then there was a walk that went around the driveway, and you went up to the staircase, and you went up 3 flights of stairs, and the door was to your right. Right along the wall, which was the kitchen wall, we had a bench. And on October 1, we put a scarecrow on the bench, and he sat there for the whole month. And then on Halloween, we snuck a person into the outfit and changed it out. And there was a person sitting in the same position, dressed as that scarecrow the whole night, waiting for people and the whole neighborhood saw the scarecrow and was messing with it all month long. And then they would come up and they'd go over, there's that scarecrow that was sitting there, and they'd freak out and fall off the stairs. And then we took tinsel and we hung it on the roof eave and let it come down about 3 feet, so that it would catch the smoke. And we had a fog machine, and we opened up the door about this far, and we blew the fog machine out of the front porch, and the whole porch would fill up with smoke. And we would open the door and we'd walk out in costume, and you couldn't see us. And then as the smoke would rise and dissipate, all of a sudden we would appear in front of you, standing on the porch. Right. And my buddy had a full costume of a demon head that was one that we got from a movie set. So it actually fit into your eye sockets. And so all you had to do is like change the makeup on around your eyes just a little bit to fit it. And he had like hand extensions, and we had one of those little boxes from what was that movie where they had to open the box with Pinhead was in it, the Hellraiser. We had that box.
Oh yeah.
And it opened up, and we put candy in the box and made people take the candy for themselves out of the box. Right? It was scary as hell. And that year I was dressed, one year I was dressed as a werewolf. And my beard used to be, red. So I had this mask that only went over my nose and through here. And I grew the mustache and the beard and put in teeth and blood packs. We had blood packs that we could put in. I could bite them. And then I'd have blood oozing out all my mouth and my tongue and stuff,
Good.
It was pretty. Those burned, though, because they were hot, but they were really good. It was a powder, and it was like a cinnamon. So when you bit into it, it kind of burns your tongue, but then you would just ooze with blood. And it looked super real.
Right.
And I scared people because the way I moved I moved like a werewolf would. So by the end of the night, I could barely walk because my quads from walking up on my toes the whole time. Right. Yeah, it was pretty, but it was authentic and scared people. So we had a blast. I made one woman pee one time by looking at her. She fell down and peed her pants. Then I was dressed as a Dracula. I was dressed as a vampire, and right on the side of the front lawn between our house and the next house, they had those cypress trees that grew up like 100 feet, and the street light was right in front of that, so it cast a shadow in an angle almost to the front door. And I found out that if I put the cape on me and took my head down like this and had the cape over the top of my head, I would disappear in the darkness and you couldn't see me, and you could be 5 feet away from me. And on the inside was red satin, and it was reflective. And I would open it up, and it was literally as if I appeared in front of people. They never even knew I was there. They're looking past me up at the scarecrow, and all of a sudden, oof, here's this 6'1" tall vampire who's less than 3 feet from you, with blood coming out and long fangs, and staring at you. And one woman literally fell down, got up, ran out, fell in the middle of the street, ran across the street, fell on the sidewalk, screaming bloody murder, peed her pants, and her friends had to pick her up. And then I was mean to her. Then I was walking back and forth like I was stalking her, and I wasn't looking. And I stood there, and I was like sideways to her, and then all of a sudden I went and looked straight at her, and she went, beat herself again.
Oh, shit.
I mean, don't get me wrong, scary is funny, but I prefer to not be scared.
Well, and then sometimes things would happen. Like my wife showed up with our son, and we had catatonic. We had to stop the whole production and take off our masks because we scared him so bad that he actually doesn't remember it, which is good. But he froze. He was catatonic for about 10 or 15 minutes. We thought we were going to have to take him to the hospital. Yeah, we scared him to death. And today when I talked to him about it, he's like, I don't remember that. I'm like, good, because you were really scared. The coolest thing that happened was we did all that. I'm standing there and I'm a werewolf, and I'm next to this alien looking guy with big pointy ears and fangs, right? And he's got the finger extensions with these big long fingernails. He's holding that box up. And this man and this woman in their probably mid to late 20s are coming up, and they have this little teeny blonde-haired girl, blonde-haired, blue eyes. She's probably 6 or 7 years old. Mom is freaking out at the sidewalk and scared to death when she sees us, and Dad's like, whoa. And the little girl sees us, and she just starts walking towards us, and they're like, whoa, grab her. And Mom's like, grab her. And Dad's like, oh my God. And he's scared to grab her, and she's walking away from them. And Mom's like freaking out, starting to cry. And the little girl walks right up, and none of us say a word. She walks right up. She looks directly into Scott's eyes as he's standing there with his face with these ears and these fangs and blood dripping down and these long fingers with this box of candy. And she looks him right in the eyes, and she smiles, and she walks up, and she puts her hand up and starts reaching for candy, and she pulls it back and goes, trick or treat, and smiles, and he pushes it towards her, and she reaches out and grabs some candy and puts it in her bag and smiles, and then turns around and skips away to her dad. We were so impressed by that. We stopped the whole show.
No fear.
We stopped the whole show and went over and took the masks off so Mom would not be scared. And went, oh my God, that's the bravest little girl I've ever seen. She was not in any way affected. That there was no fear. Right. It didn't bother her at all. It was like she could see through it and knew we were just people.
Yeah. Like, whatever. Just pretend. I'm just going to go up and grab my candy now.
Right. I wish more of us could do that.
Yeah. That was badass. We were so impressed. We stopped. Everybody stopped. Even my buddy Mike, who had a costume on of the Angel of Death, and it fit so that it was super tall, and he was actually looking through the chest and had this big Angel of Death holding the thing. He was walking around, so he was 9 feet tall. He even went, what the hell just happened? And everybody just stopped. We're stopping the show. People just come and film us. That's how much authentic we were. You guys could show up, and we could say, what do you want to be? We'll make you up. And you could just say, we had one girl, she shows up and she said, what about an undead vampire? Got it. And somebody else showed up and said, well, I'm kind of wanting to be roadkill. Got that too. Right. Look, we already got a t-shirt that has a tire track on it. We'll paint it on your face. Right. Like, you can do whatever else you want. And he's like, what about an eyeball? We're like, we got an eyeball that pops out. We'll put that on you, but you have to have this one closed the whole night. That's fine. Right. So we put the latex over his eye and put the attached on. There's an eyeball hanging out. And yeah, it was fun.
Nice. Yeah, I was never very good at makeup. It sucks because.
Yeah, we would. We do every year when everybody would be clearancing at the day after Halloween, we'd take that day off, and we would drive all over the San Francisco Bay Area and buy all the stuff that people wouldn't want to buy anymore, and they'd be trying to blow it out at 90% off. So we'd get all kinds of material for the next year, and our production just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we just kept doing it. Forever, and then
you just grow it from a seed, right? You plant a seed, you have a thought of doing something, you do it, and then it just grows.
Yeah.
That's
well. Then when I went to work for the last job that I had, my boss was a friend of mine. We knew each other when we were like kids, right? We go way back to when we were like 7, 8 years old. And I told him, he said, "You guys still do that Halloween thing, bro?" And I said, "Oh man, we don't anymore because now we got families, but I've been dying to do it." And he said, "What would it take for us to maybe set up a haunted house in our billiards room?" I said, "Bro, we could really rock this out." He says, "Let's brainstorm." So we did. He got his wife together and he and we walked through, and I'm like, "This is what we could do, bro. I'll help you design this shit." So not only did we do that, but the next year we decided to take it into the clubhouse that we had there. And the clubhouse was as big as a football field. So we literally, from that point on, ended up making so much stuff. He went crazy with getting his friends involved in making stuff. And we went so high production, we became the scariest haunted house in the San Francisco Bay Area 4 years running. Nice. People from other scare shows would call us and say, "Are you guys staying open? Because we're going to be closed at midnight. We want to come through your haunted house." Not a joke. Nice. When you Googled haunted houses in the Bay Area, we were the #1 site in the Bay Area. Go to these guys and know that we had a certain time for kids, and then we had a time for adults, and we would tell people at 8 o'clock, the kids are done, and don't bring your children because you're going to be afraid. Right? We did crazy stuff. We had the biggest vortex. You know what the vortex is? One of those things you walk through on a catwalk and the whole walls are rotating around you. We had a 50-foot vortex that was made of metal. We had 2 guys that were welders, and we actually took motors on both sides with tires on them and got them synced up to where they would turn the whole freaking thing. And you had to walk across the catwalk that we manufactured. Right? No joke, dude. And we had to go and get people up there. They'd get in the middle and they'd freeze, and we'd have to go in there.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, we were real high tech. We all dressed in black, and we were dressed up like, either Scream or something like that. Most of the time we looked like ninjas. We had hoods on and had a black mesh over our face. We had all black so we could hide anywhere. And we were mic'd up so we could hear what was going on. We had cameras that we put on all the rooms. So we were filming it and selling DVDs to people. You can watch yourself go through the entire maze, right? Oh, it was so badass. One year we did, every room was a different, like scary movie. So we had the boiler scene with what's his name? What the hell? Nightmare on Elm Street with that guy. We had the boiler scene there. You would go through that, and you would go. The next room was the Night of the Living Dead. And we had zombies in the room and outside, and people would reach in the windows. Funny story, I was in there to help fix something, and it was live. So I'm in there, and I'm running through it all black, and all of a sudden some people came in the room. So I backed up against the wall, and I was standing in front of the window, and I didn't know it. And they come walking by, and they couldn't see me at all because I'm in all black. And all of a sudden, the person that was supposed to reach out and grab at them through the window does. And then she realizes that she has her arms in between someone's arms. There's just someone standing in front of her. So she goes and she scares them, and they run past me and never even notice me. And then all of a sudden I have 2 hands on my tits, right? And she goes, "Who the fuck is this?" And she starts calling at me, right? And I said, "It's Leo. I came here to fix something." She starts laughing. "What are you doing in my window?" I said, "I was hiding from your scares." And she says, "Did they see you?" I said, "No, I'm too worried about you, man." It was hilarious. Another time I got caught. We had a kitchen scene. We did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We had an actual pocket door like he had, but he slammed it until we broke it during the show the second night. But we had a pocket door, and so we had the kitchen scene and the pocket door, and he would slam the pocket door and open it up and come at you. So we ended up putting him the door to go into the pool area was right there next to the pocket door. So we actually had people go into there, and the restrooms were there, and down at the end of the hallway was the spa. So we put the Texas Chainsaw Massacre down there with a real chainsaw. We took the chain off of it, but it was a real chainsaw. So when he started it, it really sounded. And he'd rev it, and the smoke would come out.
I know that one always freaked me out.
And he would turn that on, and he would come running at people, and they would have to leave and go out in the pool area. We had to put up a barricade that went the entire length of the pool area to keep people from falling into the pool when they came running out of the haunted house scared to death. And we had a professional photographer sitting outside the door and kneeling outside the door. And every time somebody came running out the door, they'd go and take pictures of them so we could sell them pictures of themselves coming out of the haunted house going, "Ah!" with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre dude chasing him with blood all over him and a chainsaw. Oh my God, bro, it was fun.
I didn't do too many haunted houses. I think I went.
Oh, we loved it.
And then when
we did one room.
Ones.
We actually
welcome
did.
Everybody. We had like 14 people on there here for a minute, so welcome.
Nice.
Please like, follow, subscribe. Wherever you're at, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook right now.
I can't see the chat. We're sitting here bullshitting. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem, man. No, I was liking the story, man. You were.
Well,
we did the algorithm was going up when you were talking, bro.
Do you remember when they did the room in Saw, when they were in the bathroom and they were all chained up to the toilets and to the showers?
I'm familiar with
the only way out was to cut off your own foot to get the chain off of you. We designed a thing that went on this guy's leg that we made that clamped on with a saw attached to it. And when he sawed, it didn't make much sound, but something happened. This was hilarious. This was like God. We were we all went into our office, and that was the makeup room. So we all had all of our stuff there, our whole gear for talking to each other, and the radios we had to put in our back and feed the tube and all that stuff into our ear. And cameras were all in there, and we would all go in there prior to, and then we'd all go to our places. While we were there, something happened when the guy opened up the thing to put it on his leg, and the saw blade somehow flipped over. And we had to force it back together so that it would work. And when we did, the saw blade cut into the PVC, and it sounded like he was cutting through his leg and his bone. So the malfunction made the prop work better than it did when we designed it. So he was laying on the ground, and he would start cutting on his leg, and it sounded like to people that he was cutting through his leg, and all he had to do was go while he was doing it. Oh my God, that was one of the greatest things. That it was a mess up, but it actually made the prop work better and scared the hell out of people. We actually made an elevator. We made a fake elevator one year, and this was the haunted house was a insane asylum, and the insane people were in charge of the asylum. And it was only a one-story place, but we made a elevator that had working lights and everything. You push the button and it would go ding, and the door would open up, and there was a conductor in there, and you push the button and the buttons would light up and tell you where you're going. And what we did was we built it on a platform, and you had to walk up 2 steps to get to it. And when you got in it, myself and my buddy Russell were outside of it. And when the doors closed and the guy pressed the button, the light would light up right in front of me, and we would turn the whole thing, and as it turned, it slightly lowered down as it turned, so you had the feeling that you were going downstairs, and then it would stop, and you're facing the other direction, the door would open up, and you don't feel it turning, you just feel it going down. And we actually got people in there and did various different speeds until everybody felt like they were going down, and he and I all night long turned that exactly by hand at the same speed every single time for the elevator ride. And the people would open the door and they'd all walk out, and there's a woman sitting at a desk who's like an insane person, and now you're in the insane asylum and you're walking through this. And that was where I got caught in the kitchen scene, because we had a head in a jar of water with bubbling like it was boiling. And something happened to the mechanics, and I was like the animatronic guy. So I went in there and I'm laying down underneath the stove, and I'm working on this. We had a real stove in there, right? We brought it in there, laying underneath the stove with the door down, right, off, and I'm in there and I'm working on it, and he's standing in there, and people came in, and he's like, shit, people are coming. So I tucked my feet in, and he was standing at the wood, at the island, chopping up body parts, and we made fake brains, and we made fake intestines and stuff like that. In fact, we even got raw liver. At one point, he was gnawing on the raw liver, and so it was bloody. And so he's making shit, he's scaring people, and he's whacking these intestines and all this. And the whole time he's standing with one foot on my left side and one foot on my right side. And while he's doing it, I'm underneath there trying to get this damn thing back working the whole time. And he's scaring people, and he's just standing still, and they never even knew I was in the room. And the whole time I'm in there working on props, getting it ready and getting it back together. And then I get it working, and I hop out. Isn't that, and this is the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. We had walls within walls where we could duck into, and we could take off, and you would never even know. We could get ahead of you. And, we had a whole work area that was inside of the whole show where we had all of our tools and everything. Man, it was so badass. It was just, we had so much fun. I miss that. I have pictures of it, but I miss that. We had a
How long ago was this?
Last time we did it was in 2011. And then we all ended up leaving. I left the company in 2013. Ed left in 2012. His boss, his wife, got transferred, and so we all just ended up stopping to do it. We had an entire truck container, 53-foot container, that had all of our equipment in it that we had literally, because we bought so much stuff and made so much stuff. We had full 6 foot tall and taller animatronics, full ones of Jason, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, all those guys. And we did the same thing. We would have people dressed in the costumes, right? So say if you came through on Friday night and we would have Mike Myers and say Jason would be a person, right? And then on Saturday, if you came back, you go, Mike Myers and Jason's a person, the other people are fake. We'd switch it out. And we would do like whatchamacallit, what's his name I said from I can't think of his name now. But we'd switch. And so you would come through and there'd be an animatronic now that's Mike Myers, that's Jason, right? And now a person is Mike Myers or Freddy Krueger. So we'd change it out. So we did that. That was fun. We like to do paint people up like the walls so that you would stand there until you moved.
Right.
Yeah. Like paint them like a brick, and then all of a sudden you just see somebody come out of that shit.
We had a dot room that was all black with white dots, and we had 3 girls dress up in full head to toe black stockings, including over their face, and then we put white dots all over their body in the same symmetry as the dots. So when they moved up against the wall, you couldn't tell, and then all of a sudden the wall would come alive because they'd start moving, and it would start
Ariel, if you want to come on live with us, you can. Sorry, 1 second. Ariel said she wants to pop on live, and yeah, that's what we're doing. So if you want to join, I left the link, and I can leave the link again. We'll just have some conversations.
Right.
If you want to jump on, I invite you.
We redid the Exorcist scene where she was on the bed, and that girl who was being the what's her name? She went online and got the actual makeup design, so that it was the real makeup design that she used for the movie. And we made a complete 100% replica of the room, including a buddy of ours playing the priest with holy water, flipping it on her. And the bed was on a float. So she was tied to it. She could move and the bed would jump and rock around with her body. And so he would go, the power of Christ compels you. And she'd go, the whole bed would jump up and down. And you had to walk through that scene and walk behind the priest and walk out the other side door while she's trying to get loose. And he's going, the power of Christ compels you. And he's holding up the cross and he's yelling at her. And it was exactly, even the dresser was painted exact. Everything we literally took the scene and built it. It was badass.
Yeah. See, and that's awesome. That's seriously.
I used to like all of that, and I still do appreciate all of it. Of course, I love that.
I love Halloween.
Because I'm like I dream a lot, very active dreamer. I like to go to bed with something. There's certain things if I go to bed with them, I don't want to be in that place, right? I don't want to be in that nightmare, and I've been able to prevent most nightmares. Most of them that come through are. Really, they're very, very, few and far between. But we had a pinhead too, Christy. Christy said pinhead. We had a 6 foot tall pinhead animatronic as well. We even had a pirate, a skeleton pirate. We had him full 6 foot tall skeleton pirate that was animatronic. He was cool. We did a pirate room with him, but his servo in his arm broke one day, and I had to repair it. Then the servo for his mouth, for some reason, burn out, and we could never get it to work again. That sucked because he actually talked. That was fun. But yeah, we had pinhead. We did a room where do you remember in the movie Halloween where she was sitting on the couch and she was on the phone and she was like, somebody's here? We did that scene. My son played Mike Myers, and we had one of those Rubbermaid like a chest, where you open up, you store your shit in for gardening. We put that in the corner, and we took his boots and we put it behind the curtains for the window. So when everybody came in, they thought he was hiding behind the curtains because you see the boots sticking out. And she's on the telephone. She's like, I don't know. I think he's in the room with me. And when you walk over, you have to walk through the room between her and the television, and then walk out the room. And he would come out of the box. He would blow it open. He'd come out with a knife and he would start chasing people. Oh my God, we got so much stuff on film that was so badass. This one dude came in. Big burly football dude, super buffed, 6'2". When my son, who's 5'7", popped out of that thing with the mask on and the whole outfit with the knife, he took his girlfriend, put his girlfriend in front of him, and blocked with the girlfriend and ran for his life and left her in the room as a victim. I was like, my son starts laughing, and we go and get her, and I said, you might want to rethink your whole decision-making process with the guy who just threw you at what he thought was a murderer to save his own life. I said, you might want to think about that when you go back and get in the car with him.
Right, right.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
How are you
How
today?
are you?
I'm good. How are you? Hi, Norma. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Leo.
Good. No
Good.
complaints. Just running around, having fun, right? Talking about
Yeah, you bullshitting.
haunted
No,
houses that I was a
you're
part of.
telling interesting stories. I like the Halloween stuff. I'm a big Halloween horror buff. So.
Me too. I mean, look right here. Hold on a second.
No. I'm like, make me laugh, don't make me cry.
Look at this. I'm like, I have the stuff, man.
That's awesome.
Right? And then look, here's I have that,
Oh,
right?
that's bad. I love that.
it.
I like that one. That's like our
That's
mask,
sitting on the
dude.
bookcase.
That's like our mask
I got
logo.
logos.
I know, right? That's why I loved it when you made that. I was like, bro, I could wear this, put this on.
It's different seeing Leo be scary because Leo looks so much like Santa. To see,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it's just
He
fun.
is Santa. Don't tell anybody.
I know. I told people I am Santa Claus. Look at me.
Oh, my kids already think that. They've like seen your videos and say you look like him. So
That's good. That's
I
why
mean,
do
I
this.
see him as like
I've
a
actually played
Scottish
Santa Claus.
elder.
oh,
Scottish tribal elder is what I see in him.
Oh well, I am actually a tribal elder, but for England and or for the Irish and the Scottish, in 2 clans. My mother is O'Rourke, that's her maiden name, and then my name is O'Neill, and I'm the eldest male in my family. So I am actually I was in the Caledonia Club.
Ladies and gentlemen, Leonard is the Klansman. No.
that's awesome.
Right? No, yeah, well, yeah, but I'm actually the head of the
Literally,
clan
but not
right
that kind
now.
of Klansman.
Right.
And yeah, no, I actually represent 2 clans, the O'Rourke and the O'Neill clan. And I actually, because of that, I can mix in with the McNeils because that's our Scottish cousins. So no, that's no joke. And I actually don't currently, but I had 3 kilts. I used to go to the Scottish games and dress up in full traditional dress every year.
Dude. I knew you had kilts, dude. I knew it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Right here. Look, hold on.
Tradition.
Hold on. Let me grab this. Look.
Leo's full of surprises.
Haggis, you're Irish, right? And Scottish.
I'm Swedish, Scottish, and Norwegian.
Oh shit, yeah, dude.
That's my purse that hangs around my waist.
That's
What's that
awesome.
called? Your purse?
Yeah, that's me.
Part of the
Okay,
kilt.
wear purses in Ireland and Scotland.
She was telling us
Here, look.
Norwegian. She was saying something you talked over her.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. I was like, I'm Irish German, and I said Leo's full of surprises.
You're like Glenn Gilbert.
Oh, dude.
Notice
Gotta
there's
pipe
no
it
red
down.
white, no red and white checker on it, and no red doily on the top. Take those off when you're a pirate.
Yeah.
Here's a couple of
doing out there?
daggers.
We've got like
on
9
belt.
viewers. This is like
Right.
steady. That's pretty good.
It's nice. It's awesome.
Right?
Thank you all for being here.
And
Please
all of
share this
y'all
out as many
is
times as
important.
possible. Support it. If you want to support the channel, I mean, eventually we're going to come up with
Dagger for
merch.
your.
Right now, we're
dagger
still
for your
filling
boot.
out and developing the channel. So
I can't get it to unlock right now. But that's a dagger for the boot.
Oh, that's
shit.
cool.
I like that. That's awesome.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, Leo's got a lot of cool shit in his house. I'm telling you.
I'm
I don't even
impressed.
know, but I'm telling you, I'm seeing it right now. Look at that shit. It's kinda fucking-
Half a claymore.
I told you. And
A
it's a
full
real
claymore
or
is
is it a
over 6 feet tall. This is a 3-footer.
Cool.
That's a half a claymore. It's real. It's sharp. I can cut my fingers on it.
Oh shit, yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking Highlander shit in his house, dude. I'm telling you, he's
That hangs on the door. That hangs right here on the door. I got to put it up because I just pulled the nail out, but I have that hanging on the wall right here. The door is here and the wall ends. And there's this much space. I have that sword hanging on the wall right there.
Nice. There you go. Like a perfect fit, right?
That's
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
on TikTok. Norma
Full
got in
traditional
trouble for
dress
holding a butcher
every year. And
knife.
then when I went to the Renaissance,
Yeah.
when I go to the Renaissance,
Like,
I have
really,
my,
they were like, "Tiger."
have my walking stick with a
There you go.
Merlin on it, carved
Let's see,
into it.
I
I don't know
have
if you
one
can
of
see
those.
that.
I do have
I
one.
like
Yeah, Norma's got a shaman stick. That's what it is. It's shamanic staff.
Norma
right?
does
You know,
cool
and all
TikToks.
that.
I can say
Every
that.
wizard has to have a staff.
Yeah, look at that.
I like
Dig it.
Smart.
Right?
Check out the look here we go. Symbol.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
that's
still
cool.
working on it. It's unfinished, but I
Right? That's
I
always good.
started it because I was doing a wedding for a couple, and a vulva needs her staff.
We should just put this on top of here somehow.
That's badass. That would be cool.
That would be badass if you can get that on there. Yeah.
It would look really dumb.
I was thinking if I could get something to kind of go over the top.
We're just gonna do that. We already got a hole drilled, so we can put like a leather strap and some feathers.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Right. I had to close the door. I don't have the office door closed, and the cat came in. Our girl cat. She will go into any closet or any cabinet that's open. She'll go in there, and if you don't notice, she'll close it. My mom is notorious for locking her in her closet. So whenever I don't see the cat, I go, Mother, where's your cat? I don't know. I go over and open up the closet door and see if she's in there. She came in here, and I left that door open this much, and all of a sudden she's over here with her pupils this big going, hey, looking at the door. I'm like, oop, gotta close that. So I used to go to the Scottish Games every single year over down in Pleasanton, down in the San Francisco Bay Area, because I lived in the Bay Area. We used to go there. I don't know if I told you the story. If I did, stop me. One year, the McNeils showed up. There were so many of us. We were the biggest clan that showed up that year with the amount of support. Wow. And it had the city of Dublin, which is named after Dublin, Ireland, because it looks like Dublin, Ireland. The green hills and everything. They would adopt a clan, and they adopted the McNeil clan. And we went to I think it was O'Dougal's bar or O'Reilly's bar. It was a pub, and they shut down half of the pub just for the McNeil clan. You had to be RSVP to get in. You had to show you're a clan member of the family. And McTarnahan, old man McTarnahan from McTarnahan's Ale, showed up there in his kilt with an entourage and said, this was on a Friday night, and said, everybody that's here, I want to see no empty pint glasses the entire night that I'm here. And he had 5 people walking around with pitchers, and every time you would set your glass down, they'd fill it back up. And we had pool tables, and we had shuffleboards, and we had darts, and we had a blast. And then he took an ice chest, 2 ice chests with all McTarnahan's ale, and put it at our clan tent, and told his people to come back hour by hour and keep the ice and the ale full the entire weekend. We got so drunk that we got disqualified from every games, from the Scottish Games, because nobody would show up, and if they did, they were snockered, falling down drunk. We were all laid, passed out on the lawn.
Oh, dude, that reminds me. I'm sorry to cut you off. Hold your thought. That reminds me of why they call it a hangover. Did we talk about this before?
No.
They call it a hangover because back in the day, the poor people, they could afford like to buy some ale, but they were all basically, and part of this was they were poor, but they were also like people that wouldn't leave the bar, and they were kicking them out, but they didn't want to send them home because they were too drunk. Right. So they put these lines out, these ropes.
Yes.
And they'd hang over them when they were so drunk and drink or pass out.
No, just so they'd be hungover. So they'd wake up hungover in the morning.
Yeah.
I bet that's where it came from. That sounds totally logical. Yeah. They wake up hungover because they were still hanging out the rope.
Hung over that rope. Yep.
That's what I have. So they have what's called the gathering of the clans, where once a day, all the clans that are at the games doing whatever, even in the shops, they all get together and they go out and they go line up by name alphabetically. They march out to the field, and then the officials call off all the clans that are there. And when you do, whoever's out there on the field, we would all go, huzzah! And anybody that was in the
bagpipes in the background, I'm expecting, right? Okay.
Right. So we're all passed out, and the kids are all coming up and saying, "Come on, it's the gathering of the clans. We got to go." And we're all, "Oh, what? No, man." So we all got up, and the first thing we did, we all started grabbing ale and tucking it in wherever we could tuck it in, right, to take with us out there. And it's 115 degrees out on the field, and we come marching out with all of our swords and daggers put away, and ale tucked in our kilts and wherever we're in our socks, and we go out there and we're standing there. And we're super hot, and we're all drunk, and we're drinking, and everybody pulls out their ale. And when they named our clan, everybody held up all the ale they had in their hands. So all the clans were all at a military possession tattoo, all straight at attention, and they would all go, "Huzzah!" and put up an arm. We come up with full arms full of ale, and we're all screaming. The whole crowd gave us a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And they actually said over the intercom, "Well, look who got themselves up from being drunk. The McNeils finally made their way into something early." And we're all, it was hilarious. That was one of the funnest times I ever had. at the Scottish Games. It was badass.
Yeah,
You tell stories
just
in
on
such
TV,
details, like
whatever.
you can see it.
Yeah,
What's that?
yeah.
I
He's
said you
old.
tell
He's
stories in
old soul,
such
for sure.
details that you can see. Sorry, Aaron. You
Go
tell
ahead.
details in such details. You tell
Yes.
stories in such details that you can see it.
Right?
He's a great
Right.
storyteller.
I'm a good storyteller.
Yeah.
I do have Irish in me. We're good storytellers.
Words help with
So,
the vision.
the other
We
point
have the
was,
gift of bullshit, though. Our bullshit most of the time is real. You got to pay attention to when it's bullshit and when it's not.
Right.
right? My father used to always say that.
Things are the bullshit too, so you know.
My father would always say that if you're talking to somebody and you can't make any headway with them, just baffle them with bullshit.
Right. Right.
I mean, you can't. Bullshit takes on a totally different meaning now that there is Google or any kind of search engine.
Right,
Because you
right.
used to be able to get away with just bullshitting, and now, now you can be called out on it like quickly. Like, oh, really? I do that all the time. I probably shouldn't, but
Right.
I'm like, no, wait a minute. No, that sounds like bullshit. Just like with the whole, C word.
My grandfather always said horse shit. Right? And like we say bullshit, he said horse shit. Somebody say something, you go horse shit.
I say horse shit too.
Horse shit.
Horse
Right.
shit,
So we
bullshit.
say that bullshit. I have to call bullshit on that, man. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
I do it the same way.
Oh,
We're
bullshit.
Irish are that way. You know what I love to tell somebody? I'll go, look, do you see any money coming out of my pocket? No, because I'm not buying it.
Right.
Right? Because I'm not buying what you're selling, bro.
Right.
No money coming out of my pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how'd you know? Shit was my favorite flavor.
Yeah, how'd you know shit was my favorite flavor? Thank you for that. Yeah.
Hey, so it's 5 o'clock. Almost, dude. What are you drinking? Cola?
Oh, I just got coffee right now. No alcohol.
Just coffee. Oh God, just some
Mhm.
decaf or what?
No, regular. I still got to go to the store.
I
I realized that I only have enough alcohol to last me until Christmas Day, and I won't have anything to drink Christmas Day at night. So I got to go to the store before Christmas because I need to get another fifth or another half gallon of vodka.
I was
and
thinking the
maybe a
same thing
six-pack
with
of
my tobacco and my liquor because we're gonna be hunkered down for a couple fucking days.
Yeah,
But,
me too. I got a ton of pot. In fact, I have so much pot that if I transported it and got caught right now, I'd go to jail because I have more than a personal ounce, right? But I have it spread out.
You legally have that much. Yes,
What's that?
ladies and gentlemen, he legally has that.
It is
Yeah, it's legal. It
California.
is legal in this state of California.
Yes.
I can have 7 pot plants and 14 if you count my mom, which means I can actually have 3.5 ounces of pot on my possession, and I actually right now have about 2 ounces, unless I smoke an extra bowl, and then I'll have an ounce and a quarter.
So you can just light it up on here if you want to smoke, man, because it's legal.
No, see, the only reason why I'm not doing it now is because I still got shit to do, and I don't want to be high out in public messing
Which
around
is
with
why
stuff. Right?
he's drinking coffee.
I mean, yeah, I get it.
Well, I take care. You got to remember, I have a 77-year-old mom who has Alzheimer's that I take care of. So I don't do anything until 10. At 10 o'clock, I put mom to bed. Mom goes in, and I make sure she's tucked in and everything's fine. And I come back out, and then I go smoke a bowl, make a drink, sit down, either watch dumb videos on, watching videos about ascension or reading the Gnostic Gospels or, that stuff. Or I play World of Warcraft because I'm high, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to play a video game, dude.
I play.
Yeah.
We could do that. We could use this channel with a game too, dude.
Right.
If you want to,
Yeah, we could. Yeah,
we
yeah, we
turn
can.
into a gamer channel.
If you wanna
So,
come up
and we play Raid. That's the only one we play.
Shadow
but
Legends. And I
Raid
got
Shadow
and we
Legends.
just
It's
moved up to level
player
3.
versus player kind of.
Yeah, that's the way World of Warcraft is. You can play the game without playing against other humans.
Like
And
stand
then
up.
whenever you want, you can just turn it on and just start killing other people.
That's what I love about Raid.
Now I know that we can start tagging our videos in that as
And I've been playing it for
certain
like almost
games
3
just to
years
get
now.
we talk about making it
I'm thinking about buying a new computer as it is. So what I'll do is buy another computer, and then I'll start recording some of the shit I do on the game. I wish. Listen to this. This is no joke. I wish I had recorded for that purpose. It was before people were doing it. There was a time that I was playing World of Warcraft. This was back in like 2009, 2010. Right? It started out in 2004. So I started playing it in 2008. So it was right around there, 2009. My brother was playing, and it was right when they invented the Death Knight, which was a hero class character. It was the second hero class. The first one was the Paladin, and now you have the Death Knight. And we really refined the Death Knight and figured out how to spec the Death Knight to where he was almost invincible. And they eventually nerfed that. I don't know if you know that term. They eventually turned that all into bullshit. We couldn't do it, right? Because we were too powerful. People complained. Well, and this is why there was a player versus player battleground, one of many. They have hundreds in there, but this one, which was the biggest one at the time, when you were level 80, was a castle. And you have two factions, the Alliance and the Horde, okay? And I was on the Alliance side, and that's usually the Care Bear side because the kids usually play that side. The adults usually play the Horde side, but it's, one's evil and one's good, so I couldn't go to the evil side just because there were adults there. So anyways, being who I was, but I was a Death Knight, so you're basically an undead knight that has been given the power of life, so you've been reanimated, and now you use diseases and rot to kill people, along with weapons and everything else. But you use your magic as diseases, right? You infect people. So we were defending this castle against the Horde, and my brother and I, both being Death Knights, I was a human Death Knight. I think he was a human too. He might have been a Draenei at the time. So I think he was a Draenei. We were both Death Knights, and the Horde was just crashing through the walls, coming in from two different sides, and we had a group that wasn't really that good, and we knew it, so we fell back, and we got onto the staircase, because right behind the staircase was the door barricaded, and when you open that door, if you knock it down, there's an orb inside, and if you can knock it down and go touch the orb, they claim the castle, and you have to get out of the territory until another hour and a half when the next battle begins and try and retake the castle. Right? Yeah. So we were standing on the stairs, and these two girls, I don't know if they were girls, but they were girl characters. Both of them were standing up on these pillars. They got themselves up on top of these pillars, and they were just standing there, and they were both healers. And one was healing me, and the other one was healing my brother. And we stood at the top of the staircase, and this whole Horde army comes crashing in, and they're killing all of our people, and we're just watching it happen. And then they turn, and there's about 30 of them, and this is not a joke. There's about 30 of them, and they come flying at he and I. And we were so good because we actually taught hand-to-hand combat in real life. So when we got in the game, I treated the game in combat the same way. In fact, there's my brother talking to me on a text right now. And he and I would literally fight as if we were those guys for real, right? So the first wave comes in, and he and I kill the entire first wave, and we're both still alive. So then we get everybody else resurrected, and they're all up, and they're ready to go and get going. And then there's a second wave coming in. We literally, he and I held off 8 waves with those two girls healing us, and they could not, with their entire army, get past us. And we were killing, by the time we were done, we had both killed over 100 people each. Not a joke. And the only reason we lost was a paladin who was a smart paladin. He was running up the staircase and had another paladin hit him with his magical shield, which as a Death Knight, we have this death grip where we can grab you at 30 yards away, like the guy on the video game for Mortal Kombat. Get over here. We had that ability. But when they had that on them,
fucking letter deacon out right now. Look at him.
Right? It would only stop them, and they wouldn't be able to run, but we couldn't pull them back. So I tried to get the guy, and then I popped this anti-magic shell so that nobody could put a magic thing over him, and I ganked him to me. And as soon as he landed in front of me, he popped his, because my magic had disappeared, and he was able to run past me, and I couldn't stop him, and he got in and touched the orb.
You're like, basically, that's like Battleground style, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, full on. And it's player versus player.
Okay. That's all. And that, I've never played that one.
This is
but I have played like
so I can play it
PUBG and what's the other one, babe? What's the other player versus player?
Well, there's a bunch. There's EverQuest. There's
I'm thinking more like the war game. That's the ones that I played, like PUBG.
I do PUBG and I do.
Oh, I played
that's kind of similar.
What's that?
I used to do Skyrim. Skyrim was fun, right? I used to play that. Love Skyrim. I loved all the songs in there. All the songs from Skyrim were badass. Loved the whole mythos of Skyrim. What was the other one?
What do you guys think out there? What do you guys want to see from us? What do you want? Right. What would you like to see more of? Leave it in the comments. I used to play Call of Duty first-person shooter games. I used to play Call of Duty.
I did play Call of Duty a little bit. I just don't have a lot of memory on my phone.
Oh, that shit's fun, dude. On a tablet, dude. I play on a tablet. Everything was on a phone or a tablet. Yeah, I get like the 4 fingers or. I've never gotten any.
Right, that's the way it is. That's the way it is with World of Warcraft. I have 4 fingers to move, but I also move with my mouse, and then I have the keyboard for all of the attacks, and then I can put like a micro together where I push one keyboard and I just keep putting the same button, and it goes to a different spell every time, and it'll just come back around. Right, so that, but I don't use that a lot because I like to be on the fly what I want to hit them with, so I'm constantly doing this and then moving, and and the way it's set up in that game is that no character can block or parry an attack from behind. So, and when you're speaking a spell, you have to have visual contact on the person, or they break the spell. So we would teach hand-to-hand combat and teach people to step through the person they were fighting and turn at the same time so that you're now behind them and they have to turn around. And most people are so linear that they don't move their whole body. They just turn like a robot. Right? Well, you have buttons where you can run, you can strafe. So if you hit the strafe button and the back button at the same time as the turn button the opposite way, your character pivots this way.
Right.
So not only does it just turn, but it backs up, and then when you get rid of the back,
it's kind of a move. It's like a shoot and move away, like leave a little bit. Yeah.
Right. So most people they don't think about 3D. They think 2D. They're doing this.
Those games, dude, I'm telling you, we live in the fifth dimension. Like those games, if they don't show you that, like if they don't get you to that point, even that, like you don't have to do any drugs. Just go play one of those type of games where you're in like a holodeck as your, character. That's where we are. Like,
there was actually a video game place that opened up in the Bay Area. It was over in Walnut Creek, and they had 2 simulators that you could do, and you would actually go and get in the simulator. And one was the mechs, where you would get in. Remember, they had these big giant mechs, and the guys would drive them inside the head, and they had the bodies that would run and arms and everything. You saw them on all the commercials and cartoons. Well, you had this game where you got into this machine, and the machine, the whole thing was movable. So when you were in there, they closed you in, and you had full controls around you, and the whole thing moved. And if somebody hit you with something, you got an explosion, your whole rig would bounce. You in it, you had to wear a seatbelt. And that was badass. You're inside this thing, and you think you're in that mech, and the whole thing is a computer generated on the screen on all sides of you because you're looking out the windows. So when you turn to the left, you can see what's going on your left-hand side. And then you could turn and you could see people, like I could run and turn my torso.
Really? Like I can actually, in a car, we're all in a car, right? And they make this game, PUBG is the one that you can actually throw a fucking grenade from the car into the other car that's chasing you. I mean, and it gets intense. Like you get into that place where, what do they call that? Something wars or something, some kind of battle. It was a tournament. And you're playing with a lot of good, really gamers, right? And we ended up winning. I mean, we got our asses kicked a lot. We've taken third, second. We actually took first, like that end game where everybody, like, there could be only one, right? We got to that place, and it's just threw smoke bombs.
We never did. We got our asses kicked
everywhere. We knew they were hiding because we knew we had them outnumbered. But how it started is we drove in. I think we still got a recording on my gamer page, but we drove in. Because we know, you learn, you got to have a car. You got to have a vehicle to get around and move fast, right? Yeah. So we came in and we came into the last players like fucking hee-haw, dude, like fucking Dukes of Hazzard, dude. We just came in there, drove up, like ran over half the team with the car. I got like knocked down, but they ended up letting me up. I think Norma died there.
It sounds like Halo.
Just a teensy bit too soon.
That sounds just like Halo. What was the name of that game you're talking about?
Similar to Halo. It's called PUBG.
But they were paying attention to me, so they got that right. So
it's like Call of Duty, dude. That shit's getting crazy, like the online.
Yeah,
game.
I played Call of Duty for a long time, man. There was one scenario that I played with my son. This was so hilarious. Check this out. We're going through. First, we went. I think I told you this, maybe not. First, we were going through, and it was supposed to be somewhere here in America, like Colorado or something. And the Russians had invaded. They were terrorists or something. They have this bank, and he called me up and he says, "I can't get into the damn bank. I keep getting killed. I need your help." I said, "Okay." So I went over, brought my laptop, sat down, and he says, "All right, let's go." So we're going in. I said, "Let's go around back." I said, they got the whole front zeroed. They're snipers. Let's make our way around back. They had to have got in some way. So we found a van. And the van was parked in front of the door, and there was a door so there was a back door. So we go in. He goes, "I've been here before. There's another door right here. And when I open the door, I get killed every time." And I said, "Okay." I walked up to the door, and I stood next to it, prefaced the door, and I said, "I want you to open this door, then close it."
Yeah.
But I just want you to open it and then close it that fast. He goes, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to take a look." So he opens the door, and I lean my character in the door, and I pop back out. And as I do, I see a guy standing on a staircase right above the door. Right. Yeah. And then he shoots and the door closes and he hits the wall right next to me. And I said, "Okay, do that again." And he opens the door and I lean in and go, pow. And you see this body go, shoo. And he goes, "How did you do that?" And I'm like, "Come on, bro, think room by room." Right. So that was a fun scenario. So then we get to this, we chase them out of the bank and we get to this building that's round. This was hilarious. I said, "All right, I'm going to go left. You go right." He says, all right. I said, we'll meet in the middle. I said, okay. So I'm running, I'm clearing the rooms. I'm going room to room to room to room. Now, remember, we're Navy SEALs and we're in black ops. So we got the hood, the goggles, everything, black armor, everything. And I get up to this door and I pull out my little camera and I'm slipping it under the door to look to the other side. And when I slip it under the door, what do I see? A guy slipping a camera under the door, looking back at me. I go, oh, I go,
right,
oh shit.
and you're like in that virtual world, right? Which is crazy.
Right, yeah. I go, oh shit. And he goes, oh shit. And over the radio, I said, where are you? He says, dude, I'm behind a door and I'm looking through a camera and there's a dude looking at me with a camera. I said, me too. Wait, open the door. And he goes, are you sure? I said, open the door. He opens the door. We were peeking in at each other. We had cleared the whole place and met at a closed door. And we were both looking underneath the door with the camera going, oh shit, there's somebody on the other side.
Same strategy.
Right?
Isn't that funny? Yeah, well, you'll meet some.
And it was us. So he opened up the door and I go, fuck, let's get out of here. Clear? It's hilarious. Oh, and then did you guys freeze or did I freeze?
I think they froze.
They froze. Okay, if you can hear me and we're still alive, they froze. They'll be back in a second. It happened to them a minute ago where their Wi-Fi went off and then it just came back on, and mine does that sometimes. That's why I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
There, I can hear them now.
Mine goes in and out.
And, you know, it's almost scary because it reminds me
of, it happens. We're gonna glitch.
It reminds me of Independence Day, the movie ID4. Do you remember they had a pulse that was ticking down and it was disrupting all communications? And then a few minutes later, it goes, and over the course of time, they realized it was winding down, and it was the aliens counting down to 0 to start annihilating the planet. And here I'm having Wi-Fi that keeps going down. You're having Wi-Fi that keeps going down. They're having Wi-Fi that keeps going down. Now I'm beginning to wonder.
You know, there's crazy shit. We need to touch on it.
Mine goes in and out. It's like fades.
What are you guys thinking? What do you like? Think about open up and allow that in. What are you feeling right now from the research you've done, from what's coming through right now? Because we're touching on a deep subject.
I will start and I'll say,
because I do feel like there's some reality to that, and it scares the shit out of me. But I'm willing to stand up in my fear and say fuck you.
Right? I mean, that's almost concerning. But now I know that we're not in the time of sunspots. We're in the time of the sun being diminished. Although it's brighter, we have more heat coming off. But we don't have any of the corona, mass coronal ejections. So we don't have anything sunspots or anything that we have to worry about. So if there is a problem with the communication, it's got to be something else.
Yeah.
Right. So there is something that's, I think, is disrupting worldwide communication.
Of correspondence happening right now. I mean, communication should be very well. Everything should be. I mean, as far as communicating, and the universe and the stars and the way things are aligned, things should be very, very smooth.
And there's being
and when they
dude. I mean, come on.
You gotta go.
Fucking, I'm not gonna say the word. I'm not gonna say what you think I'm gonna say. Facebook, YouTube.
Right.
Right. They know what I'm talking about.
If you say what you think I'm gonna say, Facebook.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Please comment. Yeah, comment how you feel.
Yes.
Comment how you want the show to go. I mean, we just said, hey, pirate. Podcast.
Well, and a lot of what's actually going on right now with the Wi-Fi is because Christmas is just a few days away. You have to realize that everybody's buying it online, everybody's out shopping everywhere, and everybody's swiping their card, and that card's going on the internet to go and get their money, and that slows down and locks down the whole internet. When I was a retail manager, everything would get slow this time of year.
But there's some fuckery going on.
Because
too.
Here's how
it happens too much.
With our
like these guys have $1 billion of fiber optics and why? What? By this time, how long has cable been around, dude?
Right.
How long is internet? And that's the same thing.
Right.
You're just getting accessing internet. So why are we getting kicked off at all?
Yeah. Why is this a problem?
Right.
Could it be something to do with outer space or something? Could that have anything to do with it?
We were talking about that, the grand solar minimum, and there are solar flares that can do that. But I think that this is what we need to understand. There are natural occurrences, and they do affect us.
Yes.
And that's why I do believe in astronomy and astrology. I'm not a flat earther, although I understand I feel like they're seeing it from this big picture perspective, and they're not getting that yet. Yes, it's kind of like that, but you're looking at it from they're not quite getting the quantum. I don't even like to say quantum, but that kind of there's no size, there's no time and space. You're really just jumping into a different reality, or you're living in different realities. And I feel like there is a menace here. I feel like there is a menace above just.
I believe there's a phantom menace.
A phantom. Wow.
Phantom
right?
menace.
I mean, you got to take
Like
it back.
Star Wars or another one?
Dude, I'm going to challenge you one time to never use a movie reference during a whole live stream.
Oh, that you can't
That
do
would be
that.
hard.
I can't.
I'd be done.
Challenge him to the same.
I can't do that. I can't do that because I point them out because of what they represent.
I know,
because
dude.
the truth is that
You know what,
in
though?
every
That would
book
make us
and every
better
story and
public
every
speakers
song,
for that.
Steve,
You know that,
all
right?
of it. What's that?
I mean,
That's like
Uncle
something we
Rooster,
would, if
there's
we
like
were to like
5
take
or
public
something, maybe
speaking,
6.
or
That's it.
it would make us
The only
better
time I've
public
ever
speakers to
had to
reach
watch
more.
something.
Because there's some people that are just snobs, dude. They're like, oh, he's using a fucking movie now. I can't fucking listen to him now.
Those people are the ones that I'm not speaking to anyways, right? Those are the people that they haven't even seen that movie. Oh, there it goes, using a reference
I
from
use movies
some
all the time, dude.
obscure movie that no one's ever seen
I
called
use movies all the
Star
time when I'm doing
Wars or
readings,
something.
dude.
Or
Where I'm doing some kind of speaking, and I'm like, that's got to sound like overdone sometimes. Like I overthink it. Like I know I overthink it, but that's got to be overdone sometimes. Like I watch all the great speakers, right? And I look at them and I know that they use movies. They also use and you do that, dude. Yeah. I was just giving you shit. But anyway.
No, I know. That's why I said I could never do that because
I would be done.
Yeah, because of who I am, right? But no, I agree with you because they're, and that is true. It is actually true. The way that you speak. Here's an example. All right, I was brought up because of my family. I was brought up as a prince, as an aristocrat. Okay, but not my father was. He was like King Ralph. He was like, okay, these are the things you need to know in certain circles, but don't do this shit in public because then they think you're an idiot, right? Yeah. So, but it does pay. People don't realize that even the way that we speak is different when you're talking to somebody like, okay, for instance, Melissa, who was in the crowd earlier, I saw her say hi. I talked to her, on Messenger. Sometimes we actually voice talk to one another. Okay. And she had texted me, and I literally had spent the day working with coalitions and talking to them and solving problems and getting people to understand that what's going on, to calm down. This is part of the plan. And be so reactionary. And yes, I know it looks scary, but it's not. Then I start texting her, right? And to answer her. And she actually answered me. And she'll tell you this in the chat if she's still here. She actually messaged me back and said, "This is not Leo. Who am I talking to?" Because Leo does not talk like this. And I looked at what she said and laughed and realized, and I looked back at the way I was talking to her, I was speaking to her the exact way that I was speaking to the council. And she was like, that's not Leo at all. So then I switched back to this way of talking and said, it's actually me. I apologize. I just spent 4 hours with the coalitions and I was still speaking that way.
Like, and you have to be at that high level of like mindfulness, and then be able to have that mindfulness, but then be able to project it out and show it. And I mean, we all want that gravitas, right? Which I feel like we all have, but some of us know how to work
when I'm like this, I'm over the top, I'm overbearing, I'm loud, I'm obnoxious, I say whatever, I cuss, I laugh. You can't do that when you're dealing with the coalitions.
Right, and that's not what I want this to be. We are pirates, dude. We don't.
No, but what I'm saying is, I understand what you're saying about different places for different ways of speaking and the way people hear you. And some people would go, "Oh, there he goes with the movie references again." And you're absolutely right.
There he goes.
Yeah, there he goes. Right? Yeah. Oh, bullet. Here, listen to the slave speak now. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I wish I could do that sometimes. That's just it. I was so ADD for so long. I so did not allow myself to ground in any kind of earthly education, even when it comes to just entertainment, that I can tell you that I do love certain genres maybe, but I can't tell you what artists. I can't tell you their names. I can't tell you what movies they are. I can give you maybe a scene that I remembered in it, or like maybe the name was memorable for me. So I can say, hey, it was this movie, but I can't tell you exactly what happened. I'm a very experienced person, right? Like, I need to just do it. And if I can't figure it out, and I guess this happened mostly when I was younger, because I'm growing into an understanding of it, right? Because I'm like a perfectionist. If I can do it like after 5-6 times, unfortunately, growing up, fuck this shit then. Okay, I can't do it, right? So yeah, I didn't take in a lot of the whole exterior things. I've always been a very inside of my brain, inside my mind person, which might seem very self-centered, but I've always been very aware of when I'm talking to someone, how do they feel? I also understand when I'm talking to you, I may not be able to make you feel better. You know, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna love you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be all about like where I'm at right now. But I, as a human being, as a person living right now, trying to help you, understand I may not be able to. And I gotta hope that my love is big and strong enough that at least you know I love you, right? And that's kind of just how I've lived my life.
I wanted to show you guys something. I'm gonna cue it
That's
up
good
here
because
for a
you're not
second.
trying to pretend that you're not something. You're not trying to act like you know more than you do. That's why we're talking about that
We never
on
do
the
that
show,
here,
doesn't it?
no, especially
Yeah.
right.
You know,
This is
that's
our
why
lives, right,
I made
brother?
the
This
quote
is
of
our lives.
Eckhart Tolle
Part of it.
when Eckhart
Yes.
Tolle was with the Dalai Lama, and he said, "I was never more impressed with the Dalai Lama than when someone asked him a question and he said, I don't know."
Right?
Right? Because
I'm gonna
he
show
was
something
smart
right
enough
here. Hold on a
to
second.
admit
I
that he
want you to
didn't
watch
know
this. Check
something and didn't try to act like he did. You know. Sorry, Aaron. What were you saying?
Yes.
Right?
No, I wanted to show you guys something because I'm really excited about this channel. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're called After School, and
Yes,
they've
and
got
it's
Derek
really
Infinite
very
Waters. You've
good
heard of him,
video.
right? The black guy. Derek
Yes.
Infinite Waters. You've seen him, right? And dude, he's on our side, bro. Well, I wanted to
Right.
show you guys.
So
I don't
Yeah.
know how long I can show this, but I don't. I think that they allow they have artistic freedom. They allow like you to show it. So let's see how long we can go on it. But I do want to show it. Just give me a second.
It's
Still learning how to
It's
use this
really
shit.
is.
I'm not a techie guy with the internet, but I'm trying.
It takes time, brother, and practice. Once you practice
But I
it,
want
it becomes easier.
Only wait.
Right.
It's like an 8-minute video, but I wanted to show it.
Yeah, that's why I got to get the app on here, or go ahead and buy another computer, because my base unit for some reason is just having a problem.
I gotta get a new phone because I think it's my
Yeah, I
phone.
think we're all right.
I ended up getting a phone a
Freedom
year ago,
fighters, bro.
2 years ago now. I got this phone, or almost 2 years ago. I had to upgrade. This is what is it? It's a LG K92. So it's the one that's supposed to be like $750, but I got it for like $150 because there's some deal. Yeah, it's the next one down from the Samsung, which is the $1,100 version. The Androids. This is the Android second to the top version.
I don't know what this is, but I paid like
Yeah.
$200 for it. But I needed a one.
The one before that I only paid like $5 for, but it was a good phone. But this one was really
Screen.
when you consider I run the show on this phone and I can't even do it on my base computer because that hooked up to the wrong internet.
Well, it's the Leo and Ariel show.
Right? I think it's just lagging. He's trying to put the thing up and he probably dropped himself out for a second. He'll be back.
No, because like I was saying,
Although I can still hear
my
him.
Wi-Fi does the same thing. It'll like randomly through the day, it'll like lag, but it has all the bars and it's just being weird.
Yeah, mine does that. It'll come up on the screen on the computer. I was watching it. It's on right now, but I'm on Facebook, and all of a sudden notice that it comes up on the screen. You are no longer on the internet. You're offline. I'm like, I look at it says I have all the bars. I'm like, well, what is that about?
Well, I know that one time your show was
With all
really
the bars.
lagging really bad. I think it was a show before last or something where your Wi-Fi was really bad. So I think it's everywhere. Oh, there they are.
Yeah. Yep.
Welcome back.
I'm back.
Yeah, sometimes
Sorry.
and I hate when it does it in the middle of the show, right? Because you go down, you freeze, and you sit there. Yeah, I did that during the show yesterday, where my screen froze, and I could still hear everybody. And I looked on the computer on the monitor, and everybody was fine, including me, but I couldn't see it. So I actually had to leave and reboot StreamYard and go back into the studio to actually have it work. I don't know what happened; it just froze on me. Weird.
Mine only does that if I get like a call coming in while I'm on, and then I can't hear what anybody says. Even if I hang up, it messes it up. So I have to exit out and go right back in.
Because your microphone gets stuck on the phone call. That happened to me too. My brother tried to call, or somebody tried to call my cell phone, and I hung up and I had no sound. So I had to then leave and go out and come back in. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Changed yet?
Relieved, Ralph.
I'm so relieved, Ralph. I think it's
Just some reassurance your way. Just some reassurance your way, divers, because the world has turned into a madhouse. Yes. So let's just breathe and keep calm. The tipping point has arrived, deep divers. Prepare yourself emotionally for what's coming. Now, what is a tipping point? It is when you have a series of small changes or incidents which become significant enough to create larger or more important changes. And this is where we have arrived on the planet. Because of this global pandemic, a lot of small things have been happening at a very steady rate. And this has led to a tipping point, and we're seeing it. For example, with the mental health of children all around the world, as a psychologist, depression rates are up, anxiety rates are up. In fact, there is even something called COVID anxiety syndrome. That's the tipping point. You see everything that we've gone through is something else, and we're seeing it right now. People are now starting to say, oh my gosh, what is the world turning into? People were fast asleep. They woke up and they found themselves in a prison. And right now, we've reached that tipping point where people are like, oh my gosh, we got to do something about this. And this is why it feels like the end. Because what feels like the end is nothing more than a new beginning in disguise. For the butterfly to be born, the caterpillar has to die. What's happening, Betsy? And we have to embrace this new beginning and not see it as the end, but of transformation. As this can choose what we become in this situation. Let's be learned from everything that has been happening. One, never take your freedoms for granted. Two, own yourself. Pay attention to what's happening. Otherwise, you just might wake up in 1984. Three, the power is with the people. It'll be is full, have been divided. Now people are starting, because of this, we need to connect with our soul family, our tribe. We need to put aside our differences of religion, race, ethnicity, nationality, because we are all in this together. People who run this matrix, or entities, that's better, who run this matrix, they all work together and they all work in cahoots with each other. All the governments all around the world work together because it's the one force that is controlling humanity. And now people are starting to wake up because of this tipping point to say, wait a minute, let's put aside our differences, our egos, and let's come together. And what you're seeing all around the world is people standing up for their freedoms, standing up for the freedoms of their children, coming together, and it's beautiful. In a world of 7 point people, nobody should be alone. Should be isolated. Slow motion is starting to make sense. The tipping, prepare yourself emotionally for what's coming.
That was pretty intense. Good shit. Now Aaron's freezing. Am I frozen or are you guys frozen?
I think we're good. I think we're good now. I know that took a little drag on the internet. Hold on. Hold on, let me turn this off.
Ariel's camera's frozen.
Yeah, it is frozen.
Are you frozen, Leo?
There we go.
No, I'm not, but you are. Can you see me moving?
Yeah, I can
No,
see
you're
you.
good for now. Neil's good. You're the only one frozen.
Is that better?
So what do you guys think about that? What do y'all think about that out there?
Well, I can see your face, but you're not moving, Ariel, but I can still hear you. So, yeah, so Aaron, that was good shit because he's like right on it, bro. Right on it.
Yeah,
right?
check out
That's
After School, man.
perfect.
You'd love he's an artist, and he even says, if you want to use my art, you can go ahead and use it. If you want to use any of these videos to chop up and do whatever you want with it, go for it.
Yeah. And dude, he does great stories that you know. And like,
there's Miguel.
There's a lot of things.
Depend your perspectives in here in the house.
You can actually bring everything that's happening into a singular, and you go, "Oh wow, hang on!" It really does all.
I'm gonna kick you out if you want to come back in. Just go ahead and come back in, all right?
And they do that. They do that really well.
Yeah, we could hear her voice, but she was frozen, so I think she needs to come back in. So Ariel, if you're out there, just come back in. Right. I know, you know what, and Mike's right. The problem with people coming together is that they tend to go to the minimum when in common. And you know what, that's kind of right.
He also says prepare yourself emotionally. Prepare yourself emotionally, because you're going to see some things that are not like as we already have.
And you have to be able to step outside.
However, I feel like we are going to see some things that are dark, very dark. We may experience them right in our face.
Yeah, and here's what I tell people: if you guys knew everything that I know and that we don't tell, because it sounds so insane. The stuff if I tell you the stuff that I know that's going on, that has gone on, it sounds so crazy and foreign. People already with listening, I think I'm for whatever reason your camera was frozen, and now you're fine and we can hear you fine. So he just was like, "Look, I'm gonna boot you. Come back in. Just come back in." So, but the scary thing is, that when it comes to these atrocities, when you tell people about what it is that the rich and the elite are actually doing, they don't want to hear any part of it. And it used to be.
No, blah 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 blah.
It used to be if you were talking about UFOs, then you were a kook. And nowadays you can talk about that because the government's rolling it out. But if you talk about that pizza thing, right, that they had going on, then they don't want to hear about that. And you can't say it because if I say it, the algorithm is going to boot it.
Here's how yeah. Well, see, and that's just it. I see it this way. Many people, many of us as human beings want to be rich and famous, right? And we gain ideology, and we love like all these artists, where they came from, and I find that fucking magical and beautiful, and I love that. However, I can see where, at least in my brain, and I know how humans work, that could become a problem, right? Because now that's what I'm that's my expectation. That's the I don't know how you that right now because I'm having a couple of conversations in my head. Sorry, but
just getting a little lost.
Right, I have to several times today. You're fine.
Yeah, you're getting some advice. You're channeling some advice, and it's really conflicting with your old lower self. Going, nope, I'm not fucking doing it. I know that.
Well, no, but no, you let it step kind of outside of yourself when things come in, right? Whether it's subconsciously, whether it's your interactions with people, and I still to this day struggle with letting my feelings go and just react before I've actually heard what someone has to say. You've just sparked my feelings, and now, that's what it is. This is what's happening, and
I'm guilty of that too, Norma. I'm guilty of that. I think it's a woman thing.
But really, they're trying in their way to out all their things for you to hear so that you can get it, so you can understand. And if you can step outside of your own angst for a minute when you're listening to people, not to say that you need to let people just verbally beat your ass. However, listen to what they're saying. Can you step outside of your feelings for a minute? Hear, what is this person saying?
I prefer just
is this person really trying to beat you up, or do they have no other way of expressing what?
Hold on, this motherfucker just came up. Look, we got a surprise guest.
Yes, and
we got a surprise host, y'all.
Yeah, Michael showed up. What's up, brother?
Just dealing with a sunburn on the beach. I couldn't walk all day because I just burned the fuck out of my legs. But anyway,
I feel so bad for you, dude. I'm so sorry that you got to spend time on the beach and got burnt. Oh my god!
I know it's a terrible life, isn't it, Aaron?
Did you have a margarita to fucking soothe your troubles?
Which is why you guys can't see my forest behind me, because I'm away from my natural forest and environment and everything else. Yeah, so it's a tough
looking
life.
good, bro. You're looking healthy, looking fucking strong.
Got some sun. You can see it in his face there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can probably see it on my arms too. I'm wearing a jacket because just the night air was hell on my arms because I could feel everything. So
I do dislike.
I remember those days. I don't do that anymore, but I remember those days when I get burnt and you got to put a jacket on because it's just burning and cold at the same time on your skin, and that's just not good feeling, man. You're on the jacket in the house. Yeah.
We're all there. I just wanted to comment on the listening thing. Yeah, if somebody's bitching at me, I'll just shut them off. Why? Because fuck them.
Right.
But yeah, listening. A lot of times people will be saying something and you'll be in the middle of a debate. And this is actually a psychological constant. It's something that we need to try and get away from. We always start to get our defensive position, debate position, and we're already thinking about what we're going to say, and we don't actually integrate what the others are saying. And so what we end up saying ends up being halfway off because we only caught the beginning of it. And maybe they did something towards the end of the conversation that actually matched some of the things that we were saying, but we didn't even listen to it because we were already programming or processing our responses beforehand. Yeah. And if you allow your emotions to take over your reactions, you will always be reacting badly.
Right.
So preferably use your mind instead of your emotions, because emotional shit gets you all.
Well, get a handle on your emotions, because we have emotions.
Right.
But get a handle on your emotions, so when you see the kind of shit that comes down, because we're gonna see some shit, yo. I mean, we're gonna see some shit that's natural, and then we're gonna see some shit that's forced. Because we know we're on a natural path to ascension. That really is something that's happening. It's happening no matter what. And we are on a path to grow. And there's some other forces. We call them the Dark Brotherhood sometimes. Call them the darkness, the void. You know, those who to only cause trouble, right? Sometimes they go unnamed, like you can't speak of them, like George Soros and Bill Gates,
Mike Bloomberg.
You know. The Rothschilds.
You can name half the people in charge.
No, those people are real. I'm sorry, they're fucking psycho. They're real, and these are dark forces that are the Koch brothers. I'm sorry if they come up. I'm gonna say them. You know, right? Because we say they all the time, and we don't actually put a name to it, and we do.
Look at Epstein. See, the thing is this: that we don't know the names of half the motherfuckers that are controlling the Soros, the Rothschilds, and
right.
Because they have somebody else that's in charge of them, telling them what to do. And so we don't even know those sacks of shit. I mean, the swamp is deep and wide, and we only had the beginning of it. We had to start draining the water out so we can see all the scum at the fucking bottom. Okay, that's where we're at. And this is kind of like what the Mayan were telling us about. We had the end of one cycle in 2012. We had the
Baktun 12, and now we're moving to Baktun 13.
Yeah, and there was.
I'm going to stop you for 1 second. I got to take a piss. And I want to go have a smoke. Hold on 1 second. Hold your thought. Don't forget it. I'm gonna get off of here, and then I'll come back on here in about 10 minutes. But you guys can keep going. Keep going, please.
So what I was saying is we were in the middle of a transition between the last 2012 and the next one, having the largest transformations between 2014 and 2016 to find out which big wheel we would be getting onto. And if humanity went dark and went negative, we'd be on that negative 25,000 year wheel and we wouldn't make it. However, it's a battle. And the end of that transition phase was 2019. So what happened in 2020? Life changed. Everything changed. Why? Because it's us seeing the evil so we can finally confront it. And the problem is a lot of people, just like in Revelations was telling us, a lot of people are going to be sucked into the beast system. And they're going to enjoy the beast system. They're going to think it's great. And so they stand in line in frigid temperatures for hours on end to get something shoved up their nose because somebody told them they had to.
Right. We talked about that in a lot of details yesterday on that webinar. It was started at 7 o'clock in the morning. I went until 7:30 p.m. last night, and we had many speakers. I was one of them. We talked about just that literally, according to the Aborigines, all our Aboriginals, the Hopi and the Aborigines in America and North America and the ones everywhere around the world, the cycle is we have a 3-year cycle, and this was the reason they did this was they were told by the Aborigines in Australia. This is Stephen and Evan Strong, and Stephen is like 1/4 Aboriginal or 1/2 Aboriginal, and he doesn't look. He looks more white, but he is. And they were told that they were supposed to do this ritual on their summer solstice, which is our winter solstice, just happened. So they had to do the ceremony for 3 years in a row: 2020, 2021, and 2022. Okay, and that was activating by this time next year, anyone who hasn't made a choice is going to be in trouble, because you have to make a choice between now and then, and that's when the split starts to happen. So they're going to do another.
I made my choice about 4 years ago, so I
made mine a long time before that, brother. But you know what I'm saying. So even when I was talking about earlier, playing a video game, I play World of Warcraft, and I have characters that are on the Horde side, which is supposed to be the evil side, and I've only played maybe a total of 4 hours on the Horde side in 12 years. And that's just in my mind. I equate the Horde with in service itself. So I equate the Alliance with in service to others, because the Alliance are the Care Bear. It's the humans, the dwarfs, the elves. It's all the Care Bear people. So I associate with that. I wanted to play the Horde characters hardly ever, because in my mind, that's still programming to me. If I'm on the Horde side, I'm being programmed with all the Horde shit. And this game gets into your head to where you play it, you have dreams about it. It is so virtually real that it gets into your head and you start dreaming about your characters. Right?
Well, it's like Dungeons and Dragons. Back in college, I was set up with a drow character, which is the Dark Elves, right? That was a dungeon master that set that up, but he was down some dark fucking corridors. And so he wanted me, knowing that I was a Christian, he wanted me to assume the drow, which are the most evil elves that you can get. And so what I did is I set up my character as a rebel drow, which meant even though I was an evil drow race, I was a good Christian drow. So, it's
good for you.
I even flipped around on that. Why? Because
you couldn't bend because it's a character. It's you, so you couldn't bend to that. I couldn't either. The best that I could play was an undead human who was a Death Knight. But I also chose, what happens is, as a Death Knight, when you go through Death Knight school, they resurrect your body and you're undead, you're sent by the Lich King, who's the evil king. You're sent to go and kill these people at a church, to take over the church, and you rebel. Or you don't. You choose sides after the battle. You can choose the Horde or the Alliance. I have always chose the Horde with every single Death Knight character that I've created 4 of them. And they're all, I ended up being sworn to the allegiance, to the Alliance, and fighting against the great evil. And with that character, same thing, like you said, I couldn't, it's my morals. I couldn't become pure evil. Can't do it. Refuse. So when I found out about Death Knight, I didn't want to play it. And they said, no, you get to choose which side you're on, either the Horde or the Alliance. I said, okay, I'll do a Death Knight then. And I'm going to choose the Alliance. And I don't have any Death Knights on the Horde side at all. I only have other characters that I play every now and then.
Did you ever play Diablo?
Oh God, yeah. I played that before it was on the computer. I had played that on the Nintendo first, when they had, because Blizzard made that. And they also made World of Warcraft. And they also did the Lost Vikings. I played the Lost Vikings way back in the day. In fact, that's where I get Olaf from with my email address. That's one of my nicknames, because I looked like Olaf the Stout. I had a buddy of mine who looked just like Belog the Fierce. And we had another buddy with red hair whose name was Eric. And so he looked like Eric the Swift. So we got these nicknames from everybody. I became Olaf the Stout. He became Beliog the Fierce, and he became Eric the Swift. And so I actually have a screenshot from World of Warcraft out in the middle of the desert. Up on this plateau, there was a little city that was put together, a little makeshift. And I went there one day, and guess who was standing there? Because Blizzard does this. Olaf the Stout, Belog the Fierce, and Eric the Swift were standing around a campfire, and I stood in front of them and took a selfie with my character.
Well, you look more like Odin, though, Leo.
Well, these days I do, right? These days I do. You know what's funny is on my back, on one shoulder, I have tattooed, on this shoulder over here, I have a tattoo that is done as the Viking god with the helmet with wings, not horns, wings. And the artist used my face to put in there, and he gave me a beard and a mustache, and gave me just a slight, because he was Asian, he gave me a slight Mongol look to me. And on the other side, I had my wife tattooed on the shoulder with a Viking helmet. And when people look at it, I've had people look at it and go, "That's exactly the way I think the god and goddess should look." And I'm like, "That's me and my wife, dude."
Yeah.
We're divorced
the
now, but
wings on the hat, that was the original Thor, right?
yes.
Before Chris Hemsworth came.
And then I have here on my arm, I don't know if you can see it. This is, let me get in the camera shot here. I'd have to show you a picture of it. That's actually a Thor's hammer in a Celtic knot. And
I love it.
It has the two dogs coming up like this, facing each other, the heads at the top, and their ears are just pointed, sticking up. This is their ears. They're pointing here, and the dogs. And then in here, in the middle is and I'm going off camera again, is a Thor's hammer. And Odin's face is on the top of the hammer, and his mustache is the strings that are wrapped around. And it goes, the entire Celtic knot is his mustache and beard all the way around it. And the dogs come up over his head, and they face each other right there. Then on my right leg, I have a Thor's hammer this big that goes almost from my knee to my ankle, tattooed on this leg. I have Odin tattooed, and he has the one eye, and he's got the birds, the blackbirds on his shoulders, and one's looking into the future and one's looking into the past. And it's a sideways view of him standing like this, looking at you, holding his shield and his sword, and the birds are on his shoulders. So it's kind of more like this, and he's looking this way.
How old were you when you got those tattoos, Leo?
The two on my legs, I was 32, 33, somewhere around there when I got those. The ones on my back were just after that, I think. Most of the stuff I got was from, like, over here I got this guy. Under here is actually the angel of death underneath the bird, but it's an eagle. Oh. And I got it covered up. And the mountain range that's right here is Mount Diablo. That's a mountain down in the San Francisco Bay Area. It was actually butted up against the city I grew up in. So I had Mount Diablo tattooed underneath it. The eagle's flying above Mount Diablo. And then I have the Celtic knotwork, the shamrock with the Celtic knotwork. And then I got the pentacle done in stone. And then of course, every Irishman has to have the Jolly Roger or the mulligan. And then of course I have the Jolly Roger tattooed there. And then I have a green man that's about this big right in the middle of my back. And at the base of my neck, I have the biohazard symbol right at the base of my neck tattooed. And then I have
all peaceful kinds of symbols, Leo, let me tell you.
Yeah, and then I have a black 3-leaf clover tattooed over my heart, and that's a IRA tattoo. That's why I have the Irish tattoo. Right, so those are the Irish tattoos, and the mulligan and all the other ones. Those are all Celtic, so those are all my IRA tattoos. I walk into the pub in San Francisco with a buddy of mine who was also Irish, and there was lines to the bar, 10 deep up to the bar. And I looked up to the bartender, and I pulled my shirt down and showed her my black shamrock over my heart, and then I put 2 fingers up. And she walked over and put her hand on the Guinness. And I said, yeah, she actually poured 2 Guinness. And I handed a $20 bill to somebody and said, hand this to the lady up front. And they passed the money up. And she says, hand these back to those guys. And they're like, why the fuck do they get served and we don't? And the bartender said, shut your fucking hole or you're getting thrown out.
Well, I'm getting my first tattoo the week after next. So I'm kind of like paranoid about that. Because I'm 34. Yeah, I don't do needles.
Well, what are you going to get? And where are you going to get it?
You're going to sign. No, don't go there.
I can't expose where I'm getting it, but
that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
What happens is that the tattoos are something that you are emblazoning your preferences onto your own reality.
You have to realize I'm serious with tattoos.
Things. In your case, the fact that it's Viking, Irish, and Celtic, you can't get very far away from that because that's your essence in and of itself.
Right.
But the thing is that you're tying yourself into those spiritual bases, and you got to be very careful in what spiritual bases you're tying yourself to, because remember, tattoos are for life. You know, you can take them off and everything else, but your body's marked. And so I would prefer.
But it's still engraved in there, and you have scar tissue. So I agree. So I always tell somebody when they're going to get a tattoo, make sure that it's something that you want that energy to exist with you. Because Mike is right. Yeah, it's real. It's on your body. It changes your energy, and it has. So you have to understand it's forever. So make sure that you're going to.
question was as far as like tolerating the pain and all that. It wasn't a deep question.
Hell,
no. You know what happens?
Pain is minimal and it goes away after you're done.
Once they start going, the initial part is a shock to your system and your skin. Okay. And they start doing it. What they'll do is the gun scares you just from the sound. And so usually they'll go and do a dot so you feel what it feels like. You're going to have different areas depending on your body where it is. There's different areas that are more painful in a tattoo because it's more sensitive than others. Okay. So but what happens is when they first start tattooing you, they're only going to do the outline before they do all the detail. And when they do that, when they're covering the outline, what happens is your body kicks endorphins into the areas because you're being wounded. So your body is trying to tell you I'm being wounded. But then you're like, yes, I know, because I'm getting a tattoo. So after a couple of minutes, your body kicks out the endorphins that go along with the fight or flight mechanism in your body. And it actually will start to numb your skin because you're telling yourself, I have to tolerate this. I'm aware of the pain and it doesn't do me any good because I'm doing this on purpose. And then your whole body will actually in that area it'll numb itself. And you'll only every now and then when they hit a nerve in the skin, you'll actually feel the nerve and you'll go, oh, that hurt. But then now it doesn't hurt. So you just have to tell yourself that, yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to be scary in the beginning. If you want to know what it feels like, take a rubber band and put it on your skin, right? A big one like this one here and snap it on yourself. You want to feel like what it feels like to get a tattoo, grab a rubber band and snap it on yourself. And that pain that you feel is what you're going to feel from the needle of getting the tattoo. So do that 2 or 3 times in a row and then stop. And then you go, okay.
A little bit of anesthesia. I mean, there is a cheap one. It's called liquor. And, make sure you have the right thing before you get drunk. Don't just go in there and
get a tattoo drunk here. You got to be sober in order to get it.
They do have Aspirin cream you can put on top.
You need to be sober when you choose what you want. I feel like I was drunk and I got a little fucking tattoo, dude. Little fucking.
I've never done anything.
Like you can't see it's all blended together. I only did one because I'm not into tattoos, dude.
If I had money, I'd be fully sleeved. I'd have tattoos.
That's pretty good.
If I had money, I would have.
It cost me about $150, and it's like that big.
You know what? That's about the going price. To start with, you walk in the door, they're $80 just to have them look at you and start tattooing you. So if you're only paying for $150, and it's it's something that I got lucky because I knew
like a pint of Jack. A pint of Jack. What's your favorite alcohol?
Some places they won't let you do that, bro. You can't have an alcohol to come in here.
I like wine and tequila.
No, you just got it. I did. You like wine? Okay, wine. Okay. So have like 2 glasses of wine. Chew some gum because apparently it's illegal if you go in there when you're drinking.
It depends on what state you're in.
We all know there's many sailors that have went in there drinking and got plenty of tattoos.
That's why they stopped.
Anyway, that's why because everybody gets drunk and gets a tattoo, and the next day they wake up and they're going, "Why the fuck did I get that?"
I'm telling you, it still happens.
I was drunk off my ass, and the guy next to me said, "Hey, why don't you get this?"
They're still going to give you a tattoo unless you're like and falling on the floor.
If you're paying cash, no, Aaron's right. If you got cash, they're going to do your tattoo. Make sure you eat food beforehand because if you don't have enough food in your system, what happens is it also saps your spirit. So make sure you have food.
Don't get a fucking tattoo. That's it. Just don't get one.
I got one of my friends going with me because I told him, I was like, I've never done this before. I don't like needles, but I'm committed to it, so I'm going to do it.
Just make sure you eat before, you'll be fine.
Is this your first tattoo? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have a drink. But
I'm like, Aaron, you don't realize
I had a drink on my first tattoo. And my only tattoo.
Lightweight too. After like 2 or 3 glasses of wine, I'm like
Chardonnay or whatever the fuck your wine snobby ass drinks, and then
Angel's Wings have a lot of detail to them.
And Ariel, here's the thing.
Well, right? They're doing the outline first. Yes. And I would see if I can tolerate it, and then once I can tolerate it, then they're gonna go in and they're gonna do like the details of it.
They're gonna do a print, and they're gonna put ink on you, and they're gonna put it right where they need to follow it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll draw it up on this almost like a paper vellum.
It's a needle that's like 3 feet long, and it'll go through your arm.
And they'll have purple ink that is the tattoo, and then they'll trace that and tattoo you.
It's a needle that oscillates and goes like this. It just goes really fast.
There's depending. It's sometimes 2 or 3. Sometimes 4 needles.
I mean, that's what it is. Like, you gotta understand.
That's the whole point. If you're feeling the pain now, don't do it because the real pain is going to be.
That's
not it. It's the fact of the matter that I want to do it, but it can't hurt worse than childbirth because I pushed out my 9-pound child.
Yeah, have you ever sat in a tattoo parlor? Ariel, have you ever sat in a tattoo parlor for any length of time?
Yeah, I've got with friends, and I've been to a tattoo parlor when I got my tongue pierced, and but I took that out years ago. But I've been a couple times, yeah.
Well, the reason I was asking is because the whole ambiance of that when they turn the gun on, because the needles move as fast as it does with electricity, it ionizes the air, and it has a certain scent. You can smell the ozone in the air. It creates ozone.
I like the smell of it, though. I'm weird. I like the smell.
See, that's why people get addicted to tattoo. So you go and you get your first tattoo, and if you're one of those people, then you'll get addicted to it because you go in there and you smell the ozone, and the tattoo hurts.
That's what the whole thing with, like heroin addicts. You know, they like that flash. It's called the flash point. So that when they stick themselves with the heroin, they like that more than the high. I mean, they love the high, of course, but they wouldn't keep coming back.
Right.
Part of it is like going to be on like a bone, and the rest of it is going to be like on fatty tissue, I guess you could say.
I didn't know that.
But so they say the bone hurts.
Yes, the bone. If you have no meat in their tattooing, that hurts worse than it does when you have meat on your bones. Yeah.
Well, I got plenty of meat. That ain't the issue.
Yeah. Right.
The issue is the location.
Yeah. This tattoo right here was probably the most painful that I got.
Look at what Julie said. Julie said my last session was about 3 hours, not my first.
The one that I did on my back, I did a 5 hour ago.
I passed out about halfway through the outline. You must have had a big one, like right on the bone.
I didn't. I actually went in. I got the green man tattooed on my back.
Like, really?
Well, it's already in the process because I already put the deposit on it. I had to put a deposit on it. They have to do it here.
I think I'm going to pay for like a tribal tattoo. We're going straight to fucking Tahiti or we're going to the Maori.
I want to get one of those done with the old school way where they bounce the stick on you.
And like a chisel. It looks like you're being sculpted, dude. Yeah, exactly. They just tap it.
I want to get one of those. That's badass, bro. Yeah. That is badass. I want to get one of those.
Y'all are some funky motherfuckers.
I know. There's plenty of Polynesians around where
I had. It was bad enough that I got one of those summertime tattoos. You know, where you put the shit on there. That was bad enough. And good thing.
I got 15 tattoos, brother, and I would love to have more. A buddy of mine had, at last count, he had 87 tattoos, bro.
Oh my god. See, I like tattoos, but like I said, I haven't wanted one, but now I do. And like I said, I've already put the deposit down. You have to make appointments now because of COVID. Yeah. And they had to push it back at one time because they had COVID exposure. So I was supposed to get it technically last week, but
go up to Stella's to above this one. Because I was surprised the fact that she got her first tattoo when she was 71. I mean,
yeah, that can happen.
Yeah,
but still, why?
Yeah.
You made it to 71
without why not? I mean,
why not? Right? Why not? There's still time to live, man. Tattoo it up, baby. Hell yeah.
I'm gonna die soon. I'm getting a goddamn tattoo.
So you know what?
The first one, and I got like 3 more already. I'm gonna get. So I got that
one little tiny one.
You'll either, once you get your first one, you'll either go through with it and you'll keep getting more because you'll get addicted, because that's what a lot of us do, or you'll get the first one and go, I'm good, I don't want any more. That's what'll happen.
I lost focus on that. It was only cool when I was drinking, dude. And I got a big tax return that year, so I was like, okay. And I was like 21, dude. 21 with a fucking big tax return. What do you think that money goes? Like to most, like it just goes to strip clubs and fucking bars.
My first tattoo, I was 18.
And I figured I had to spend it on some kind of investment that was going to stick around and not just beer. So, you know, I went and got a tattoo when I was drinking beer at the strip club.
Right? Yeah. No, I literally 18 years old, I got my first tattoo. 19, I got my second tattoo. 20, I got the first tattoo covered up with the eagle I showed you. And then after that, I realized that I wish I hadn't covered it up now, but at the time, I was the young GQ Republican American wearing a suit and a tie and having the angel of death tattooed on your arm with a bloody sword pointing at you with blood dripping off it. Wasn't exactly a cool thing for management to have on their body.
Well, so I had to get that covered up. You just covered it up. You didn't eliminate it, Leo. You still
got that movie called where he's wearing a peace sign on his
army helmet. Yeah, but mine's going to be hidden, so nobody's going to see it. So I'm good there.
Wait, hold on, because now I got my camera up here.
Now Leo's froze.
Yeah, it's because my camera is screwed up because I hit the damn button. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
I ended up opening. Hold on.
Oh, he's gone.
He'll be back. He'll be back. I'm the Quaalude.
Where's Norma, Aaron?
She is talking to my daughter. She's giving her some motherly advice because they're going through some, young love, some not teen angst. It's like 20th angst. We're like, oh my God, I feel like I should be like in a romantic situation with you right now, and I'm not, and it's just not pleasing to me. They have to it's got to be a movie to them. It can't be like real fucking love. Like real love is just like what we're experiencing right now without, the sex. But with Norma, yes, of course. But real love is like like it is right now. Like we're talking. Like this is how it has to be to sustain a relationship. At least in my book, I've been together with Norma for 15 fucking years, dude, and that's the longest relationship I've ever been in. And she'll kill me for saying that I didn't get married. That's why I'm still together. But, I got ruined from one marriage. I was smart enough, just like getting a tattoo. I'm like, fuck that. I don't want another one. This is cool.
I was stupid enough.
Thing about that, Aaron, you got to be honest and open with your partner about everything. And you can't be stuck in your ways. Right. About certain things. You have to go outside of your box.
Here comes Norma.
I have arrived.
See, look, here's my backup. Look, I'm in the middle of the sausage fest right now.
Fucking leather biker jacket, dude. Doesn't she look sexy? Look at that.
She's all biker chicked out. I got married when I was 24 or 22. Shouldn't have done it. Ended up divorced. Then I was stupid enough to get married back in 2013, and I'm still married to her. But we've been separated since 2016.
I got married when I was 16, and I was divorced by I was 19.
Yeah.
I was married in 18. In 95.
Norma started early. You know what? I'm going to tell you out there, kids. Start early, and then you can retire early.
And then.
You know what? But I say that, and guess what? I'm still fucking being a parent. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
that's right.
You know what? It's harder when they're adults.
Right.
And
because
they
they've
fucking
had their
know
own
how to
experiences, and
and you know what?
And their own
but they get to this point where, like,
I am in my 50s. My kids will be in their 20s, so I can be one of those free older ladies.
Like, I couldn't think about having a kid right now. Like having a child right now at this age. Fuck you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I'm 54. I wouldn't want to have a kid.
Okay, I'm going to be somewhat free because I want to have an older man with me. So. We'll go to bingo together and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. She said we'll go to bingo. You go to bingo? Dude, we don't have bingo here, man.
That's hilarious.
I love
bingo together.
Bingo's awesome. You sound like an old.
When I'm 50, he'll be like 70. So, yeah.
And then we're going to have the 4 o'clock. What do they call that? 4 o'clock fucking buffet.
Right, yeah, 4 o'clock buffet. And it's going to be a geriatric buffet.
Now. What are you talking about?
It's going to be a geriatric buffet because certain people can't have certain food after a certain time of day because it messes up their stomach. So you're going to have a geriatric lunch with some fruit.
Is it kosher? Is it kosher?
I got to open up my vitamins. Let me take my vitamins.
Okay, you guys saw me earlier. Did you see me when I grabbed this and threw it back? I forgot to take my pills today, and they were in my pocket. And I'm almost talking to you guys, and I'm like, whack, and took my pills. I had blood pressure pill in there. I have a diabetic pill in there.
Yeah. That's like
when I get to the point to where I have to take a bunch of pills on a certain schedule, please kill me.
No.
Well, I only take 3 pills that are actually prescribed. Everything else I take, I prescribe myself. So it's all natural stuff. But yeah,
well, I prefer the self-medication thing myself. The self-medication is always a good thing.
You see, and that's what I've been doing the last 5 years since my doctor died. Natural. What I'm doing, like I'll eat what I gotta eat and do what I gotta do, and I'm not doing it right yet. Exactly, I most definitely seem to have some sort of issue with drinking enough water. Like, when the fuck is enough? Anyway, and then eating properly. I'm more of a I'll do a meal, but I can only eat like a quarter of that meal, right? Like it's delicious. I love food. Don't get me wrong. Like when you sit me down with a meal, I eat like a bird, right? So more of like a muncher. I need snacks throughout the day. And I don't do that a lot. So I see where that self-care is like a big, right? You do got to understand how your body works. My metabolism is very
thing is like I only
get a whole lot at one time. It's little bits and quickly released, right? And so other people, it's different. But anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought because I was trying to listen to you, and then I.
I only eat like 2 meals a day, but I don't do anything. I just like sit in my house and go nuts. So I don't really do anything. So you know, I like I said, I don't eat that much, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, because if you don't do it, it's not going to
be slow metabolism. And so you know that when you're getting in your nutrients, your body's going to hold on to those nutrients, right? You're okay with that. It takes it. You take your time metabolizing and working with it, and that's great. And movement, dude, you don't have to come up with some exercise routine. Simply be a silly you, right? When you grab your broom and you're singing a song and you're just being a silly you, know that you're working your muscles. Just be aware of what you're doing, right?
Look at Kathy. Look what Kathy just said. That's okay. Cap, I got to set this up. So Kathy is a moderator. She's been a moderator for a couple of years. You guys were talking about tattoos. She said, my favorite is the lips on my ass cheek. Oh my God. I got rock star.
You know how many women that I know of that have a tattoo of lips on their ass cheek?
What's that?
My tattoo is going to be close, but it's not going to be on my ass.
Women, I know a lot of women that get the lips tattooed on their ass. And you know what's funny is I've always been that guy when someone says, kiss my ass, I'm like, Barrett, right? So women who do that, they'll be like, I'm telling you, I got to stop you to kiss. If you have a tattoo on your ass of lips, I will put my lips on that tattoo and kiss it. Because any woman who's going to give me their ass cheek and let me kiss it, I'll do it for free. They don't have to have that tattoo on there. But if they do, I'll kiss that actual tattoo so they can laugh.
Hey, ladies,
kiss my ass.
Hold on, we got to break this down. Hey, ladies, you out there?
Well, see, mine's not going to be on my ass. Mine's going to be south of the border.
Is it going to be south of the border? Yeah. So it's going to be right in your pelvic area? Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
No, I was convinced to get a few of my tattoos. And it's not that I hate any of them, but most of them are kind of And yeah, I was actually convinced by my ex-husband to get a banner on my bum, which is cool.
It looks like grapes, dude. It looks like.
Why am I calling myself?
What the fuck is that? Okay, first time I saw her ass, I'm like seriously. Is that a fucking grapes of wrath or what is it? It's like a grapes.
And most of
grapes
I paid for
reference
0 tattoos.
And she's like, that's not grapes.
Yeah. Know what you're doing? All right. Hold on. I'll be right back. My mother just came in. I got to go and help her. I'll be right back.
You got it, man.
My thing is, I've already got mine picked out, and it's going to be specific to a certain opportunity in my life. So I have no issue, or regrets about getting it. It's just the fact of the matter, the pain that I'm going.
Now, for me, it's just that they're ugly now, and I can't just go back.
Because all that ink blots out. It blots out.
It was done at home. I was someone's tester bunny. I guess that's the only reason it bothers me, because they're not terrible. They're just not good, right? And especially my booty. Why the fuck do I want my own nickname on my butt? It's weird.
Julie says my ass is free.
Well, my ass is going to be free. It's not going to be my ass. Tom Jones wrote a song about it called "What's New, Pussycat." That's all I can say on YouTube.
Whoa, what's new, Pussycat? Whoa. Yeah,
I love that song. Look at my
triggered me.
I love some of my tattoos. I make a lot of money to fix them, so they are what they are.
Yeah,
I'm beautiful.
Yeah. How's your mom doing, Leo?
She was good. I turned on a video for her to watch, and it ended. It was 2 hours. It was the finale for The Voice, and it ended. And when it ends, it goes to a screensaver. right? Because of the DVR. So it went to the screensaver, and then it defaulted back to the news, the channel that it had on. And so she has a screensaver, and she can hear the news being. And so she got up and came in here. It was like,
oh shit.
yeah, I have the remote. I don't leave her with the remote, because if I leave her with the remote, she'll start knob dicking with it. Next thing you know, the volume is at like 99, right?
Yeah.
Share this out, y'all. I know there's 7 people in here right now watching. Please share. Please share. Please share.
I share all my
I like Debbie's comment. Fucking hilarious. I love that comment. So Mom's good. I turned on Alaskan, The Last Frontier, and she loves that show with the crazy people in Alaska. So she's good for a minute. Anyways, and then I'm going to have to get out here probably in the next half hour or so, because I got to run to the store, because I didn't get enough booze to carry me through the holiday weekend. Did you hear me? I didn't get enough booze to carry me through the holiday weekend, and I'm not going to the store.
I know, dude. What the fuck? It's time to get back to liquor store. We still live in California, dude. I have to go to state-appropriated stores, dude. Like state, and they hide them everywhere. So you gotta use them on the map. Like you can't go to like a regular private fucking store. It's state control. Yep. And guess who's making money off it, dude?
The Mormons.
The Mormons.
I'm going to the store tomorrow, and I'm going back out.
Yep, that's the way it is.
That sounds like the land of the free to me, doesn't it?
Yeah, the state of Virginia is the same way. You have to buy alcohol only from the state. It's the same way.
Yeah,
my wife
claim to be Republican around here, conservative, but that's all communist. Like that's communistic, dude. It really is.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just pointing out. I know you motherfuckers have been doing this.
I guess you would call me an independent, because I'm not on either one. So I guess I'm an independent if I had to be categorized. But I just don't get involved.
If I fucking think
you know what I do, Ariel?
Support them. That's it.
I actually listed myself as no party affiliation, because I don't agree with the independent party either.
We're not in that system. We gotta change that system.
I registered no party affiliation.
Because it causes too much of a wedge, between people. Like, oh well, you know,
it's a
you
system
like
set up to control people. It's a system set up to control. Not to govern. Well, govern really means control, right? Doesn't it mean control? The root word.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Anyway, thank you all for being here. I'm glad fucking Miguel got in here.
Yes, I'm glad you made it.
And I'm going to end it with the commercial, so y'all stick around and watch. But thank you for being here. Please like, subscribe, fucking whatever. But be here next week, Wednesday at 5 p.m. It may go fucking 1 hour. It may go 10 hours.
You never know.
It may go fucking 3 weeks.
I can't
Dude, who knows what kind of acid we'll take next time.
Right.
But anyway, or hallucinogen of any kind. I'm just kidding, but I'm not. Anyway.
I digress, right? No, wait, I did.
Are you serious? Are you sure?
I'm digressing because I'm a motherfucking pirate. So thank you all for being here. Much love to all of you.
Yes.
Have a great fucking week. Have a great Christmas.
Feel the love.
We'll be back right after Christmas.
Have a great Christmas. Oh, you guys.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace out. That's good.